these mountain towns, you gotta watch for the the water comes down fast when it rains. Here's another garden that's very attractive, and right above them is the mountain. We're entering Mount Zion National Park, excuse me. And the amazing thing is, here by the river, it's very green, and then on the other side of the road, it's so dry that there is cactus everywhere. And it's drier than a bone. Interesting. Yeah, more of those plumed plants. Grasses there growing here. Lowen buttercups, I think they're called. This is very pretty because this is irrigated by the river. Up ahead, or sometimes on one side of the road, it's drier than bone. Cactus here on the way. This is really an arid area except for the sides of the river. And here we come. It is awesomely overwhelming, all the mountains up above here.
Cactus here.
Well, we are at the end of the tour, the bus tour, all the way back, about 15 miles to the temple of Sinawava. We just got off the bus. We're going to work our way back down, and there's about 20 different people here, mountain climbers, climbing the sheer rocks. I'm going to try to find this person for you.
Just above the trees.
There it is.
They look like they've stopped for lunch. Fell on the...
Okay. I'm not doing well at all here. The story is it takes about 2 days to go up. They have to sleep. They have to sleep and then go on back up.
Can you draw back and show the whole cliff?
No, du kannst schon ranholen, aber es wackelt Heiden, wenn du sie sehr dicht ranholst. Ja? Hm?
There she is. How you doing?
Enjoying this canyon. It's beautiful.
Great. Here comes a couple hikers. I thought I would just go up this cliff and kind of show you what Nancy's sitting in front of here. Look at that mountain, huh? Isn't that beautiful?
We're going to follow the hikers down this trail to what they call the Narrows. That's where the go around the corner there, and the canyon narrows quite a.
Okay, so Nancy and I are now ready to walk up the trail to the Narrows, and I thought we'd just turn around, and we still have some sunlight, catch the peaks of some of these mountains behind us. As Nancy and I walk on this trail, I wanted to get a good shot of this beautiful brook. You can hear it, the sound of it.
Is it the Virgin River?
The Virgin River, right. And this is the canyon that we are walking in.
Cliffs way above our heads. The guy thought they were 12 to 14,000 feet high.
Oh no, honey, about 1,500 feet, honey. Nancy and I are taking a little breather here just for a minute. I thought I would shoot some of the canyon, show you the sheer cliff walls that we're walking through, or alongside, I should say. You can still hear that brook alongside of us. It's beautiful. Having fun? There she goes. There she is. That's a nice spot, Nance. Can you wave to us, honey?
It's steep already here.
Is it? I'm going to try to catch the color of this rock here. It's beautiful here. It's just gorgeous.
Here's just a little overhanging rock.
So we're still on the trail, and I thought I would take another shot of this beautiful stream that's going through here. And then pan up to this beautiful, gorgeous rock.
And trees going on top of the cliffs.
Yeah. It's a bright orange. Well, here we are at the end of the trail. This is what they call the Narrows. Hi, Nance. And then this canyon gets narrower and narrower. And then I'll give you a shot of the top, what it looks like. If we were a little younger and a little bit earlier in the day, maybe we would take a shot at this. Having fun?
We made it to the end.
Right. Made it to the end. Well, what do we have here?
I don't know.
Do you know what it is, sir? No?
I don't know.
He doesn't know what it is. I don't know what it is
I
either.
never saw anything like it. You want me to hold it?
Yes.
I don't
pretty
see any
ugly,
eyes,
whatever
but
it
I
is.
see its claws.
Whatever it is, it's gruesome.
Yeah, it
Or
is.
awesome. I don't know what it is.
An horror.
From Huizen. It's nearby Amsterdam.
Oh, wow. Are you having a good time?
Very good time.
Good. How many languages do you speak?
Well, to a little bit of English and the Dutch,
Friends.
French.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, we're walking out now. It's about a half an hour walk. Nancy said, look straight up. So I'm showing you the top of these peaks. We're in a canyon, as we said. And these cliffs are, I guess, 1,500 feet up. There she goes. Well, we finished our walk. It took us about almost a half an hour to come back to the beginning point where the buses are. And I thought I would just sweep up here. We're losing our sunshine. It's now about 10 after 5. There's people still starting on down the trail.
It says 16 miles deep and 15 miles long and up to 2,000 feet high.
Wow. Yeah, we're losing our sunlight here now. Getting ready to get on the bus. I thought I'd give you a shot of the bus that brings us back. They don't allow any cars back here. It's about 15 miles back from the main entrance. There's 7 stop-offs on this trip back, but we came right to the very end to start with. What is absolutely amazing to me is that just about everyone that we ran into, most of them were from Germany, a lot of them from France, and an awful lot of them from Italy, and a lot from Japan. It was amazing. I encountered very few Americans. Seems like the Americans have not discovered Zion National Park. The Germans are coming over here in droves. They just come. Oh, we met a couple from Denmark too. But the Germans are coming over on tours, and so the one couple we met were coming for 6 months.
About an hour and 45 minutes around here. About 1 hour.
Well, hi, it's 20 to 6. We just took the bus to the Zion Lodge. We're gonna get a snack here. I wanted to take one final sweep because when we come out, it'll be dark. The lighting is such that, you know, the sun has gone down quite a bit, but I'm trying to pick up what I can. And swinging around here. Fantastic day for us. And I'm just going to take one last look here. And then we're going to be heading on. Tonight we're heading out for the North Rim of Grand Canyon. Okay, bye-bye. The tunnel was built in 1930 and it's very tight. Motorhomes can't go through. Oh, look at this. No lights in here either.
This is narrow, very narrow. They just had an oversized vehicle go through, so they had to hold up the traffic on our side. Oh, it's close. Can't really capture that opening. It's sheer rock way, way down.
Something, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Close sides. We're coming down from Zion and going through that big tunnel up at the top of the mountain, and now it's
a lot of switchbacks.
yeah. Stone here has a more layered look, more like frosting, zigzagging down the mountain. It looks like a knife drawn through frosting sometimes. Here's an example. Yeah.
Oh, look at that one. Can you see that?
Yep. We made it down the Route 9. We're headed towards Mount Carmel Junction in our motel, and the sunset is splendid. Nice rosy glow.
Yeah, we went about 35 miles through that canyon. It was really a little scary and beautiful at the same time.
I've never quite seen clouds this color.
Well, good morning. It's Monday morning here, about 9:30. We're on our way to Grand Canyon. I wanted to stop and see if I could pick this up at all. I'm going to try to. It's a little hard. It's a little hard to see. The sun is so bright. I really can't see too well through here, but there's a tremendous array of mountains here. I was hoping to pick up. I guess we're about 50 or 60 miles from the north rim of the Grand Canyon. I think I hear a car coming now. That'll be the first car we've seen in either direction. We've had this pretty much to ourselves. I hope he knows to go around me.
Ooh-wee. Yeah, this is gorgeous. Whoa. I'm all right here. Yes, we're coming through these beautiful evergreen forests, and now there's the lovely gold of the aspens. These are cedars, the tall, fin-shaped ones, and we went through lots of huge ponderosa forests. Just lovely here. Much prettier than the open desert we passed through earlier today. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, and we're approaching the north rim of the Grand Canyon. We're coming into the North Rim Lodge area. These are some of the accommodations here. Here's the lodge itself. Very nice building. There's a sign. This actually is the Visitor Center. Very attractive building. Stone and wood. Very nice.
Okay, we've just left the Visitor Center and we're descending now to Bright Angel Point. And that's Nancy up ahead. You see her walking through. And we have yet to see the canyon. It's right off on our left here. As we approach the point, Nancy and I discovered these nice cabins here. Nancy's checking them out. What do you like especially about them, honey?
Beautiful Adirondack crackers.
Uh-huh. She also noticed the very nice stone fireplaces. Nice accommodations. They're right here on the point. When we called, they were booked solid. You have to call about 6 months in advance, I guess, to get these kind of accommodations. But we're staying at Jacob, was it Jacob Lake, honey, isn't it?
Right.
About 15 miles outside the... We're staying at Jacob Lake, which is about 15 miles outside the park. Well, it's 11:45, and I thought we would take a shower. We just arrived here at this lookout point, and it's a little hazy yet. I guess the sun hasn't burned off all the fog. There's a lookout point, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it out to there. This gorge, or this canyon, is so deep that you really have to record it in phases, I guess.
Jim, wait, shoot from here.
Alright, well, here we go. I'll try to get a little bit of Nancy here and this tree, and then the view out in the canyon.
The gnarled trees are beautiful in their own right, and also the canyon behind me.
Hi, well, I'm almost to the end of this trail, which is a very high point here at the end of the trail, but I thought I would try in some way to get a shot down into the canyon. It's been quite a hike. It's a half-mile hike, but it's like you're walking on a very thin crest of a mountain. I don't know if you can see any of this too well, but I'm going to try it. And I'll black it out, but you see where that fellow is. That's the end of this trail. The furthest most point, right on the point. It's a long ways down there. Well, okay, I'm at Bright Angel Point. It's an awesome site. I'm going to try to sweep. I don't really know how well this will pick up. It's very, very hazy. They say it's from the pollution. Wow. To the left is the Brahma Temple, and to the right is Zoroaster Temple. I'm going to try one more shot here before I head back to the lodge. We're still at the point, and I'm just kind of ambying over towards the edge to show you the drop down.
And I was sitting way back from it away, and I was playing this for a while. And I wasn't even really watching, but I don't know how many people came in, they take a picture of the tree, they turn around and take a picture of me. I thought, wow, if I was charging for these pictures.
What is it now?
It's called a didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo?
It's an Australian Aboriginal instrument.
I see. Could you play for us again?
Sure can.
Thanks. Oh my gosh. Well, we're working our way back from the Bright Angel Point, and up ahead I see the lodge, and I thought I would try to zoom in on that. Nancy's over there investigating that right now. It's beautiful. I'm going to go over there next and see what the view is from there. Ooh. That looks like an awesome spot right there. About a mile drop. Okay. I'm standing at a point just like the one I'm photographing here. And where I am is just outside the lodge, which you can see up here. It's a beautiful building. And then as we swing on down to where I am, my knees are shaking a little bit. I don't know if you can really pick this all up, but here I am. I'm out on a ledge here, looking down at the canyon. And my knees are shaking just a little bit. Okay. And then lastly, I'll try one more time to get this panorama. As you can see, it's very hazy, but it is very awesome. I thought this would be a good spot. This is the furthest out point, right below the lodge, and maybe it'll give you some indication of the drop down into the gorge down there. Pretty hard to see. And then beyond. Awesome. A very famous mule who rode these trails for some 30 years, right, honey?
He was a wild burro, and actually, but he let children ride on him, and he permitted certain things, but still he was wild.
Thanks.
We've been at Bright Angel Point, and Jim went for a nice hike to the end of Bright Angel Point, and now we're going around a different trail to Port Royal, Mount Royal, or something like that. It's called Cape Royal. And it was sprinkling here a minute ago, but praise the Lord, the sun is out again.
Well, hi. It's just a beautiful place to stop. It's Point Escalata, and it's very clear here. There's no haze. I thought I could get a good shot of this for you. We're heading down to the end of the point here, and we're about halfway. Got about another 8-9 miles to go. It's just starting to sprinkle now. Well, it's 3 o'clock and we're at Roosevelt Point, and I thought I'd let you read what Teddy had to say. It's a beautiful spot here. But they say this was Teddy Roosevelt's favorite place, favorite spot here at the North Rim, and I can see why. Yeah, a good deal of this land is Navajo Indian Reservation.
They came from Western Canada in the 1400s.
Okay.
We're at Walhalla Glades. This is evidence of permanent masonry dwellings and pottery about 1,200 years ago during the Pueblo period. And these are a series of rooms which were masonry, and they were roofed, and they believe that people entered through the roof. There are 2 very large rooms here, and then not long after, even 2 larger rooms joined inside by a doorway. I'll show down there.
Okay.
These 2 smaller rooms didn't show as much rubble, so they figured they were shorter rooms used for storage. And then down there at the very end, the large stone shows how this site was buried up to where the lichen level is. It's probably about 1.5 feet. This was all underground when they started the archaeological dig. They don't know what that stone is there for. They don't know what special significance that large stone had.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to take a look at the Unkar Delta here, where the Indians used to live many years ago, 1,000 years ago. And I'm going to zoom in down here, and we're going to show you the Colorado River. And you see the rapids down there? And Indians just lived down there in that delta in the summertime, 1,000 years ago, or more. Well, we're up here. What is the name of this point, honey?
Cape Royal.
Cape Royal. And we're at the last stop, but the sun has gone away, and it hardly ever rains here, but it looks like there's a front coming in. So the picture isn't as bright as it should be, but I thought we could get a good shot of this hole here in the, well, what would you call it? It's a tremendous opening in the wall there. It's beautiful.
With the size of the people on top.
Alright. This trail actually ends up where these people are. I don't know if we're going to get up there or not, because there's a big front coming in here. They haven't had rain. We're at the very farthest end now. It's called Cape Royal, and I'm going to try to zoom in on the Colorado River as it heads toward, see if I can get it there. There it comes. Toward the Phantom Ranch, which is further upstream. Starting to rain again. This is quite a sight up here. It's raining, but I'm trying to show you a beautiful rainbow here.
It's beautiful. It's the true color. It's just like somebody turned on a neon light.
Yeah, good one.
Hi.
Bila, move forward lah. Depan lagi, depan. No, ke sana.
I want a beautiful picture of your family.
I'll try to get this rainbow again. Stopped raining. Oh, am I losing it here a little bit?
It's in the clouds up at the top, but down below it's vivid. It's gorgeous.
There it is.
Double. The sun is on the canyon too, Jimmy.
Well,
Well, the sun just came out, so I thought I'd try to catch some of this for you and for us. So hard to see through here with the sun. Okay, I'm going to try to pick up the Colorado River over here one more time.
we should be here about 5 minutes ago.
It's down there. You see it?
Really? As we
And
were
two of them.
walking.
And two of them.
There's the Colorado River winding through the Grand Canyon.
And the color was so intense, like that one. Yeah? It goes all the way down there.
Behind me, and she and I both went.
We're wrapping up the day here. It's now around 5:30. No, I'm sorry, it's 4:30. We just lost another hour.
House?
No, he's working on a house in Ocean City, New Jersey. We just bought it. And I
that a
made the
baby
grand
in there?
escape.
New one, huh?
That was magnificent.
Oh, I see another curve of the Colorado there.
Yeah, it's coming again. Huh?
How ready if you are, Jimmy. I haven't seen down at Cape Royal.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
it's 175 miles that way. And that's before you get down into the canyon. And then they have to take a 2-day trip down into the canyon. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. But I wish it was a little clearer, because that would be a magnificent photo, because you've got their religious sacred lands with their homeland. It's beautiful.
So I suppose in summer they will go down there then?
Yes.
Or in winter they go down there? In winter?
In the summer they would
It'll be a
go
lot cooler,
here
isn't it?
because the moisture
from the river.
So they were able to take that plateau and just farm that
farm
plateau.
them, okay.
Yes, that's where they got their food for the winter. Then they moved up,
Oh, then they move up.
Then
down
they
there.
come up. Isn't that amazing?
or they also had the ruins and they would go in.
Oh, into the side wall then.
Yeah, they had found 100 caverns right down in that area.
Here we have Freya Castle over to the left, and swinging over to the right we have Vishnu Temple 2 miles away. At Grand Canyon North Rim.
This before. This is called Angel's Window. And I thought I would try to zoom it in a little bit more for you. Angel's Window. It is absolutely gorgeous out there today. Isn't it spectacular? And that's the spot where Nancy and I were a little while ago and had some pictures taken there. There was a picture taken of Nancy and I by a fellow from Malaysia. Hello there, little bunny. Where did you come from? There he is. Look at that. I'm just about the end of my film here. And we're about ready to leave the Grand Canyon. And here's this little feller here, keeping me company right alongside the walkway here. Peter Rabbit. Goodbye, Peter.
It's Tuesday morning and we stayed the night here in the Kaibab Forest. And I'm looking for one of the Kaibab squirrels, but I haven't seen one yet. We're staying in these huge ponderosa pine forests. Trees are enormous. And that's our little cabin over there. This cabin looks like it's still from the 30s. The floor is a little sloped, but it was nice and toasty warm.
Check out that sink over there. Did you zoom in on it?
Yeah. I think this has been here from the 30s too.
Yeah.
It's quaint and it was cozy and comfortable. Go. And this is Jim on our front porch, and take a look at that front step.
Well, good morning from Jacob Lake. It's I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to go here. It's 7:30 in the morning and we're heading off for our Monument Valley. You thought I forgot it, see, but I didn't. Monument Valley. We have a date with John Wayne over there, and we might even go on some ATVs. What do you think of that? So we're on our way. We can't waste any more time talking to you. We have to get rolling here.
These trees are awesome.
Good morning from Jacob Lake in the Grand Canyon. What was that, honey? Say it again.
They're expecting snow later this week, so they've got a good supply of firewood.
Okay.
We just came around the turn coming out of Jacob Lake Inn. And guess what we see on the road? We've seen cattle signs, but I couldn't really believe that we're...
Wait a minute, are those moose?
No. Apparently cattle graze loose around here. And they're right on the side of the road. Isn't that something? I missed it. Oh, a truck just came and they scattered up the hill.
It's looking right at you.
Yep. There they go. A trunk is honking at them, so they...
Well, we just left Jacob Lake and we're coming down, and we don't have the benefit of sun. It's been raining, but this is a huge, huge valley that we're coming into, and I thought I would just take a minute to see what we could pick up on tape anyway. I'm sure when the sun is out it's a spectacular view. That's an interesting mountain over there. Then the valley just stretches out as far as the eye can see. And that's where we're heading. We're heading down to Monument Valley and then Flagstaff and on into Sun City West to see Jerry and Joe. Now Nancy can show us what Vivian has just sold us.
This is a pot made by Julia Johnson. Those are replicas of the petroglyphs. It's glazed on the inside so it's safe for water, and it's signed on the bottom by the artist. She uses her Navajo name to sign her pots. It's signed Benishta, but her English name is Julia Johnson. And she's a Navajo. And she's from the local area.
Let's shoot in on it, honey. Let me see what... That's very pretty. Well, thank you, Vivian. We enjoyed meeting you. And you live an hour and a half from here?
Yes, I do.
Wow. Where do you live?
On the Navajo reservation.
Wow. Well, good to meet you. Thank you very much.
We went to Kayenta today, and we were hoping we could go on a tour with the Navajos at Monument Valley.
Yeah.
Have you ever been up that way?
Yeah.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Well, we've just left a historic site where there was an exhibition come through here in 1776. Excuse me. And these are called the Vermilion Cliffs. And I just thought I'd try to take a quick shot of them for you, and for us too. And we're heading on to
Soap Creek.
Soap Creek and the Cliff Dwellers. Well, we're in the metropolis of Soap Creek, Arizona. And we thought we'd come back and take a look at this mountain. Beautiful mountain. And Nancy's going to get somewhat of a close-up. Where is that darn thing? Of this very interesting, what would you call it, Nance?
A house,
House.
in the middle of the rocks.
Yeah, house in the middle of the rocks.
There's some big boulders. Some are standing up on supports, looks like.
They're big. Look how big they are compared to the car.
Right. And then there's this.
Good when it's raining or something like that.
These are a strange collection of rocks here. That wasn't a rock, that was Jimmy. And then this house, built right into the boulder. Very unusual, never saw anything like this before. And a little outbuilding type over here. Strange. We're gonna try to camcord going inside. I don't know if you can see.
Hey, how do you like my fireplace here? Pretty nice, huh?
Yeah, I love your open air roof.
It's a huge boulder right here that they built this whole building right around. Open air roof and a purple door. Very, very ingenious, actually.
Ledges and shelves for things.
Right. Could be our retirement home here.
Yeah, right. This is another little living space. It looks like two shelves carved in there for beds. And the doorway open. And above is this huge boulder. But it's big enough to build a fire and two sleeping ledges inside. Very strange conglomeration of rocks here, but and that's the house we just showed you coming in. And this strange looking rock here. Here comes Jim in our rented car. Looks just like our other car, except it's kind of.
I like the little place here. It's nice. We're gonna retire right here. There's our house right there. real cozy.
We're at the Navajo Bridge.
Which crosses the Colorado River.
Right, and it's at the edge of the Vermilion Cliffs, which we've been driving along for hours. This is an early picnic shelter built for travelers coming across this area. And this is the Navajo Bridge, crossing the Colorado River just above Lee's Ferry. We actually have seating here and fireplaces and benches and tables. Quite nice. You can see the original bridge in the background, and then they built a new, more modern bridge in 1995. The rustic architecture of this picnic shelter was built in 1938. Protected from the sun with boards, and the old bridge then became a pedestrian bridge when the new bridge was built in 1995. Over the old bridge I'm standing on is now used as a pedestrian bridge because of vehicles and heavier
stay here. We're at the Navajo Bridge, and the Colorado River is below us there. Nancy's trying to get a shot of it. If you look over here, you can see the river going right up the valley there.
It's the end of the pedestrian bridge, the old 1929 job, and the Navajo Interpretive Center there. That Navajo Bridge, we're entering the Navajo Reservation, and it covers areas in 4 states. We're going through Antelope Pass. We're climbing the mountains here, and we've just crossed over the Colorado River and went through the little Navajo tiny village of Bittersweet. And Antelope Pass here is going between Bittersweet, which is a tiny community, Navajo community, up to Page.
Keep it going.
It's overcast, but it hasn't been raining. It was raining when we got up this morning, but
now you can catch that up ahead. How does that look? See that up there? Isn't that beautiful?
we're winding around on the side of these mountains here.
The rock up there.
This is all way above us. And of course, down below, you can see the Vermilion Cliffs on the other side of the huge valley that we were following for hours this morning. I'm sure this mountain we're circling around is part of the Vermilion Cliffs. They go for many, many miles.
They said that keep your lights on day and night and watch out for falling rocks. And it may be icy. Otherwise, everything is honky-dory. Look it up. These motorhomes coming around the corner.
Right, there's, it says mountain climbing.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Ooh, honey, straight ahead. Look at
I
this.
see that.
Oh,
Oh,
isn't this
my.
beautiful? Oh my gosh. Look at this. Is about as beautiful as anything we've seen. Ooh, right through the mountain. It was nice.
We just came across a long strip of wide open desert on a plateau, and now we've come out on the other side and we're starting to descend, and I don't know if you can see in the distance.
It's very overcast today, so it's a little hard to see.
Right, in the distance it looks like white cliffs.
And then there's Lake Powell.
And Lake Powell.
I can't see it. Way to the left, what is that over there that's more white?
Those are.
Yeah, those are.
It's beautiful. Whenever entering Page and Lake Powell, and off to the left there's some beautiful white cliffs, and on the other side of them, 100 miles away behind them, is Bryce Canyon National Park, where we were a couple days ago. Here's the dam at Lake Powell. It forms Lake Powell. And below, of course, is the river gorge of the Colorado River, and this is called Glen Canyon. And we just came across that bridge from Page. Page is right on the other side.
Standing on the dam, and we're heading for an elevator. There's more concrete in here than in Hoover Dam. and 18 men died building this dam. It's starting to rain again, but we're looking at Lake Powell, and this water is 563 feet deep. It was like a huge canyon before they built the dam. 563 feet deep. And this is where we're heading to another elevator.
This 53-story building through the middle of the dam. It takes 1 minute and 18 seconds. The elevator travels at 6 miles an hour. Those are some dam elevator facts I picked up on the. Now seepage is really going on too. Total seepage through, around, and underneath Glen Canyon Dam, 10,000 liters a minute. About 2,600 gallons a minute in seepage. So we have 2,600 gallons back here and 14 million gallons up there, and this is supposed to make you feel better. All right, does anybody have any questions before we go look at the golf course and find out where all this water ends up at?
This is a core, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a core sample of some of the concrete in the dam. The generators, they did not need the dirt. Low-tech answer, plant grass. Besides that, it keeps Harry busy on Wednesday mornings. Once a week. If you look over at the center of the dam, at the bottom, next to the grass, there is a big hole over there with water coming out of it. That is the seepage being pumped out of the well. We were just listening to that water. It's draining into the moat. The moat carries the water to the river. As we head to the powerhouse, on this canyon wall, you can see the white pipe hanging off the dam. That's seepage from the top 2 tunnels. All of the water on both sides of the canyon. This is the water that totals up to the 2,600 gallons a minute in seepage we've been talking about. Let's go look at some of these generators.
Long ways up. These are the transformers.
Rather large generators.
Generators, 8 large
It
generators.
takes 2 things to make electricity. It takes a copper wire and it takes a magnet. Copper wires have inside of them a free. The water has just come down through the dam in the tube. It was 4.7 meters or 15 feet. As it comes into the power plant, it narrows to 4.3 meters or 14 feet. Makes a half of a circle. The water rushes through the pipe and then blasts out onto the blades of the turbine, causing the turbine to spin around 150 times every minute. The turbine is connected to a shaft. That's what you can see spinning in the third unit. That shaft is 4 stories tall. It is 40 inches in diameter and it weighs 80,000 pounds all by itself. It's spinning around 150 times a minute. Attached to the shaft are the magnets. Both the main parts, the magnets and the copper wires, are both located in the biggest part of the wedding cake scenario you can see in there. Attached to the shaft are 48 magnets. They are in 24 sets of 2 all the way around what they call the rotor. Because it's attached to the shaft, the magnets are spinning 150 times a minute. And the magnets are spinning inside of 360 very large copper wires.
How long did it take to build this dam again?
10 years. It took 4.5 years to prepare the canyon, to blast off the loose stuff, build the notches, and move the river. It took 3 years and 3 months to pour the concrete in the dam and another 3 years to build the power plant. Started in 1956, finished by mid-summer 1966, so 10 years.
Thank you.
You're looking at a 700-foot wall of water.
A seven,
Keep going.
did you say a 700-foot wall of water?
That's what it would be, yeah.
So it would fill up the canyon, huh?
Yeah, 24 hours is... Yeah, basically. And it's not just this dam. I mean, the chances that another dam would hold, if this hit it, are, you know, the upper basin states, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Wyoming, are all having drought conditions. The water that supplies the valley above the Salt Lake Valley, all of their waters have gone. So, this gets to me, how many of you have heard that they want to drain Lake Powell? Anybody heard that? Been a big move for about the last 3 years to drain Lake Powell to get rid of the water. It really want to get rid of 2 years flow of the river for any reason at this point when we've got 75% of our vegetables being grown off of this water, and we built huge cities, Phoenix, Las Vegas, half of California, in places that are very, very hostile to people. They don't have any natural resources to support the huge populations that we put there. It's just something to think about. So this would appear to be the first year of the drought. How long will be, no one can say, but this would appear to be the first year.
Department of Agriculture.
Really? Are they all, how big are they?
We're looking at the Colorado River below the dam, and this water is heading down to the Grand
Your
Canyon.
Department of Interior then as well.
Like your wildlife, refuges.
Well, and like the National Park Service is under the Department of Interior, and they're a mess. You know. Canyon. You can see where we started. You may not have realized you were hanging that far over the side of the canyon. We usually wait until we get you down here, and the clouds give a real excellent depth of perception. Isn't that awesome?
What about these bolts? It's just to hold the rock from...
Yeah, these
coming
ones
up.
down here going 75 feet. They were hollow, they shot them full of cement. They have a big molly bolt or an expansion bolt at the end which opens up and locks them back in the canyon. Carries us up them all over. That's why the water's coming out of a straight line on that side. Those holes just let the seepage out so that it doesn't press on the outer layers of stone that we're wanting to fall off the canyon anyway.
All of the seepage is coming
Where the dam? Yeah, the dam is 325 feet thick at the bottom and about 30 foot thick at the top. There's more cement in here than they have in the Hoover Dam, and I thought I would take a little close-up of these white cliffs at the end of this Lake Powell. Beautiful lake. Okay, this huge bucket was used, they would fill this with cement to build the dam, and because of the heat they would use ice, because with the water it would evaporate. Right, honey?
In the desert.
In the desert, right. Having fun?
Yes.
It's beautiful.
I know.
Oh, hey, I just thought I'd take a shot of this painting by Norman Rockwell. He visited here in 1974 and was befriended by some of the Indians here.
We're traveling through the Navajo Nation ever since Navajo Bridge, and we're just miles and miles of desert stretching out, and just came to this new escarpment. Looks like fortresses. The wind is blowing the sand here. It's actually very sandy, very dry. Just saw 2 cows going down into a wash. Wasn't a drop of water down there. It's all blowing dry. We've been on the Navajo, what they call the Navajo Nation, the Navajo Indian Reservation, for 3 hours now. And we've seen a lot of desert, very dry, some herds of cattle. We just saw a small herd of sheep beside the road with a sheepdog. And the signs say, just watch for animals.
Beautiful.
These are mammoth. We've entered Kayenta and some interesting rocks here in town.
That's Owl Rock. This is El Capitan. They're entering the Monument Valley. Okay, this is our first stop on our way into Monument Valley. This particular rock formation is called the Owl.
That was called Agatlan. It's much wool in Navajo, or a lot of wool. Much wool.
So El Capitan, they feel it's the center of the world. Okay.
This was the place of the first Navajo marketplace. They did a census this year, so we haven't got the results. I think there's about 250,000. There's a lot of people living in the remote areas. This one up here is called Boot Mesa. It's named after Kit Carson's boots. Around the corner there, they had a fort built in there when they were rounding up the Navajos. Some of the Navajos were volunteering coming in on their own because they had already burnt their crops and their fruit trees down, so they didn't have any way to survive out here. So they were coming in and turning themselves in. But a couple of young Navajo boys decided it'd be a kick to rip off Kit Carson's boots. So they stole his boots, and then they got scared. They didn't want to get caught with them. They thought they'd be punished with them, or for having them. So they stashed them on the edge of the mesa there. Kit Carson had to send a search party out to find his boots over. So you'll see the spires. They don't look very tall, but they're about 300 foot tall up there. This section of highway is the section of highway they use in the movie Forrest Gump. This is where it was running through here.
No kidding. That's amazing.
Those of Anasazi that lived through this valley alone, they all vanished on us. We don't really know what happened to the Anasazi.
Hello, honey. How you doing? Having a good time? It's pretty windy out here today. We're going into Utah for about 3 miles, he said, then we'll come back into Arizona. As you can see, it's pretty cloudy here today, right now anyway, and I'm going to just take a sweep anyway. As he said, the highway we just came down was a highway that they use for filming Forrest Gump. And this is just a shot across the street. Some of these Indians live 60 to 80 miles off the blacktop. They call it the oil roads. So they're dirt roads, 80 miles. Some 80 miles off of the blacktop, and they go back for their grazing rights. So they have to go way back in the boondocks. We've just stopped here at the Visitor Center for Monument Valley. Well, we're standing up on top of the Visitor Center, and it's a little dark, but I thought I'd try a shot anyway. Wish we had some sun here. Pretty awesome, though. They said they started making movies out here in 1939. Okay, what we're looking at here is a dinosaur track that's 180 million years old. Gee whiz, that's quite a while ago. Can you see it? That's a lot of years. Through here?
These are the mittens, the left mitten and the right mitten. That's American.
West mitten, and then
right mitten. That's American.
Okay, we have a stop here. This is called the West Mitten, and then we swing about 1.25 miles to the East Mitten. And then this is called the Merrick Butte, or Butte, B-U-T-T-E. These 3 monuments are often photographed by all the crews that come out here.
Movie and commercial.
Movies and commercials, right. what they call John Ford Point. He was a famous director that made all the John Wayne movies. These are the three sisters. The one in the middle is smaller because it's a half sister. That wasn't my line, that was Jim's line. Crane hands.
Hey, Roy.
What do you think, Nance?
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay, I'll continue the swing.
Got a great big satellite link truck here. People up on Elephant Butte. It took 22 minutes to film it here, shoot it up to a satellite, and then air it down in Tokyo.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
Could you mention some of those movies again, Jim, while I'm recording?
Fort Apache was filmed out here. Stagecoach was filmed right out here. My Darling Clementine. She Wore a Yellow Ribbon.
Oh yeah, we saw that.
The latest one was The Wild Wild West with Will Smith. We're filming Navajo Code Talker next year out here, beginning of next year. They use the Navajo language there for getting codes across.
Okay, so this is called the hump. Well, Nancy's going into the group to get the information. I'm coming way out here to try to get as much of this rock as I can. We were in a valley that Sun's Eye. I'll try to get a better shot from here. There are some depressions in the rock which I'm hoping is being picked up here. And then we'll go on up to the Sun's Eye. Oh, Nancy's over there. There she is. We're having a marvelous time. It's a little hard to get some of this. These rocks, the formations are so huge, there's just no practical way to get the whole picture at one time. You have to take a little bit at a time. I'm going to swing around just for the heck of it, to give you an idea of the size of this canyon we're in. We had to come up here on a special route. The truck that brought us in has a special permit. They don't even allow regular cars to come in here. The ruts that we came through would have been impassable to a car. I'm going to go back over here again and zoom in a little bit. What are you doing, Nancy?
It's a goat. These are Anasazi. They mark them with other rocks. It's a coyote facing away, and a deer, or an antelope. And here's some more up here. The ancient people.
Anasazi, the ancient people.
They're all waiting for us.
All right, honey. Isn't that something? Amazing.
Disappeared out of this area about 800 years ago.
800 years ago.
We know that the petroglyphs are that old. We had them authenticized by National Geographic back in '72. Another way is it takes 800 years for the brown to show up. So when they first made those petroglyphs, they were a bright white color of the sandstone. And now that they're brown, we know that it's taken at least 800 years for them to turn brown.
Yeah.
So we know they're at least 800 years old, probably more like 1,000. And then there's some places around here where the petroglyphs are over a couple of thousand years old.
Well, we got out of the truck again, and this is called Moccasin Arch.
Another petroglyph over here on the wall you might want to see.
These rocks go back, these mountains go back to, he said, 180 million years. I think Nancy spotted another petroglyph. Ain't she gorgeous?
Over here on the wall.
Yeah, we saw the petroglyph. So this is where the Anastusi lived.
Out here we have petroglyphs, which are pecked-in indentations in the wall. Then we have pictographs, which are paintings on the wall. Some of the paintings, they really look like aliens. And Navajos believe that the Anasazi were hauled off out of here by spaceships. And they say that 3 Navajo babies will be born already old, already aged. I forgot the name of the disease. And they say when the 3rd one's born, the space.
What is that, Nance? A snake? Just singing a traditional song, and they were all laying on the ground, all looking up through this hole right in the top of the mountain here. We've been waiting for the blue to come through, but it doesn't. It's pretty cloudy today.
Doesn't matter if there's some cloud.
Yeah. This is called the Big Hogan, which means big house. Beautiful.
600 foot high and 18 foot in diameter.
And that's called?
Totem pole.
Totem pole.
And the ones just to the right are called the Yebiches. Yebiches are a traditional dancer out here. They always dance in a row or a follow leader type dance.
Mm-hmm.
With Totem Pole, we filmed a IBM, part of the IBM typewriter commercial up there. Put everything from a secretary's office up there and had a stunt woman up there typing away at the desk. And we filmed it from a helicopter.
You're kidding. On the top of that thing?
On the top of that. They also climbed it in the Clint Eastwood movie called Eiger Sanction. Clint Eastwood climbed to the base of it, and then they had a professional climb all the way to the top.
How big is that in the top, Jim?
18 foot.
Oh my gosh. And it's 600 feet high.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
There she is. Are we having fun yet?
Oh, this is wonderful.
This is wonderful.
Petroglyphs and the sun's eye. Big
Hogan. Just gonna get some shots of some yucca here, like Lorraine gave to you. The sun has come out. So this is artesian. This has been being fed by artesian wells, huh?
Artesian Springs.
Artesian Springs.
It's called Sand Springs.
Sand Springs. And that little guy out there is known as the turtle. We're approaching Rain God Mesa again. We're completing our 17-mile loop, as Jim said.
Reservation covers 16 million acres, 25,000 square miles. It's actually larger than some of the states back east, larger than a few countries.
What is it?
Scrub oak. We have a lot of scrub oak down there. And between those two over there, it's called the North Window. It's John Wayne's favorite view in the valley.
Where's that? This was John Wayne's favorite view, huh?
Yeah, that was John Wayne's favorite view. It's called the North Window. He had pretty good taste.
North Window. Getting ready to leave the valley. So we'll try to take some shots here from the car. Okay, well, we're coming back out this afternoon. The sky has cleared up quite a bit. Gotta move over for this car here. It's a beautiful afternoon now. Well, it's about 4 o'clock, and as I said, we decided to drive back out here again. The sun has come out, and we don't have that bouncing car that we're in. This way we can take a few more shots and then decide which ones we want to keep. wanted to take a minute here to show you all these shacks here, just a little bit before the visitor center. Most of them are closed right now. On both sides of the street here. I'll flip over to the other side here in a minute. I'm looking right into the sun here, so but this side is just full of shacks, just like the previous shot that I took. Okay, Nancy, I'm going to try to put names on these. Go ahead, honey.
This is Eagle Mesa. The eagle is to the left of the mesa. It's a huge, the mesa is called Tabletop, and you can see the perspective by the cars below it. Just to the right of that is the sitting hen. It looks like fingers sticking up. It's the tail feathers on the left and the head of the hen on to the right. And the round lower hill to the right of that is Brigham's Tomb. And the next very large one is called Lying Chief. And if you look closely, you can see starting at the left, the top of his head, his nose and chin, then his chest and arms, and it slopes down to his feet at the end. The next thin figure is the king on the throne. On the left is the back of his chair, and then to the right of it is the head and shoulders, and then the knees protruding to the right of the king on the throne. The next group of two is the stagecoach. And then the one shaped like a golf bag is called Castle View. And lots of commercials were filmed on the top of that. They lined up on there with the helicopter. And the next monument is Kneeling Chief. And from the other side, they call it Praying Hands. It looks like hands praying.
Okay, that's it for now.
At this row of stands, we've got jewelry and pottery and Navajo menu here. Mutton stew, Navajo tacos, and fry bread are traditional, I think, for the Navajos. We're heading for the historic Goulding's Lodge, and the main reason we're visiting this whole area is John Wayne was here, and they have John Wayne's cabin.
Well, hello there. What did you find here, Nance?
Not very comfortable accommodations.
No, huh?
Nope.
I'm going to go up and then you can show the size of this mountain up here. Wow.
Because it's a wagon seat just like ours with the wooden brace attached to the side of the box and the seat just exactly like ours.
Okay. We're up at Goulding's here. This is where John Wayne, I guess, used to hang out at one time. They claim there's a cabin here that he used to use. And there's a vista out here, as you can see, out in the distance. John Wayne's cabin. I believe that's right out the window there. We're going to go over and check it out. From what we hear, in 1939 when John Wayne made Stagecoach, it was his first picture here in Monument Valley. And that's John Ford, the director's chair. And then here's a shot of John Wayne, and then a picture of him with Henry Fonda, John Agar, and Shirley Temple, who made a movie here. Richard Widmark made several movies here also. These pictures are taken here from Fort Apache. I'm sure you've all seen that movie with Henry Ford. John Ford directing, and Henry Fonda, and John Wayne and Shirley Temple. And again, these are from John Wayne's first movie here called Stagecoach in 1939. In winter, and there's the three sisters. And this is a Navajo boy, Navajo woman. And what was this one called, hon?
Moccasin.
Moccasin Arch. We were there today.
We saw the petroglyphs.
We saw the petroglyphs there.
Hastine Haskanini Begay.
He was the medicine man for all of John Ford's movies to kind of give John a hint on what kind of weather you're going to have the next day. So John Ford really depended on him for many. Well, this is pictures from a movie called The Eiger Sanction, which I never heard of, but it shows the totem pole, which I believe is 600 feet high. And how big at the top, honey? About
16 feet across.
16 feet across, and there's Clint Eastwood on top of it. They had to drop him off in a helicopter and then come back and pick him up. That's when he was younger and maybe braver.
1975, starring George Kennedy and Jack Cassidy.
Yep. 600 feet up on a 15-foot platform. You wouldn't get me up there for all the money in the world.
We're here at the Goulding's Trading Post, and you can see the view from up here on this side of the mountain. And they came here to buy sheep, and they ended up staying for like 40 years and having a hotel and entertaining many important people here. And of course, they're the ones who got all the tourists to come. Harry Goulding took photographs here, and then he went and sat outside John Ford's office for 3 days until he got to show him the pictures. And once he showed John Ford the pictures, they started making movies out here, from Hollywood crews coming out.
Well, we're finishing up today here at Monument Valley. We thought we'd come up here to the visitor center. The sunset, the sun will be setting behind us. And this is the left mitten, the right mitten, and the Merrick Butte. These two mittens are around 1.5 miles apart, but you'd never know it. Well, as we wait for the sunset, I thought I would take a shot at the road that we were riding on today. We had a fantastic trip down there. Jim took us down.
Our driver Jim took us down this 17-mile loop, paved, semi-paved road, and then he took us down some private roads where we saw the sun's eye. There's a huge arch way above our heads with a hole in the top of the original skylight, of course. And then we're on the back, and we saw 2 huge arches with Anasazi petroglyphs etched on the walls by these ancient peoples. Unbelievable beauty and ancient history. A full-blooded Navajo was living in another group, and he sat in the corner of the cave under the hole in the roof of the cave, hundreds of feet up, and played a musical instrument beautifully, and then he sang in his native language, and we were able to get part of that. It was a deeply moving experience.
So here we are at Monument Valley, ending the day. It's the moon has come up over this Merrick Butte. I'm waiting for it. Isn't that beautiful? What a shot. As we end our day here at Monument Valley. October 11th around 7 o'clock. Oh, Nancy's staying here right beside me here. We're both enjoying this beautiful moment here at Monument Valley. That moon's coming right smack over the center of that butte. Isn't that beautiful? Well, it's been a great day, and we'll be heading out for Flagstaff in the morning. Hopefully we'll see David Ollinger. For now, we'll say sayonara. Bye-bye.
We left Kayenta at 9:30 this morning, and we're on our way to Navajo National Monument. And we have just come up 9 miles up a nicely paved road, and here we are. Go ahead. Oop. Entrance bump.
Must be an Indian flag, huh?
Trying to see it. Make it out. There's that flute-like instrument.
Beautiful.
This is Batatican, one of the most splendid ruins in the Southwest. I'm Dan Murphy, ranger in the National Park Service, and I would like to show you this beautiful site.
Navajo Indians built to meet the demands of desert dwelling. They come up with this comfortable and sturdy fork stick hogan, so-called because its chief structural support is made up of 3 poles with their forked ends interlocked at the top.
Thank you, dear. And what do we see over here to the left?
We have an early Indian wagon, and the wagon seat is the sister to our wagon seat at home.
It is?
The springs are the same style.
Let me zoom in on this. I'll be darned. It's a sister, it's a direct descendant, direct sister of our wagon seat over on the wagon seat trail. What can you tell us about this, honey? Anything? This old wagon? Turn of the century, I guess, huh?
Right, it looks like this is the brake.
Uh-huh.
But it has the same springs as ours.
Okay. I guess now we're going to take a little walk down the trail here.
The Sandal Trail.
Okay. Okay, we're on the Sandal Trail coming down, and here comes Nancy. And she's enjoying herself, and I think she's going to show us something over here. Are you, honey?
Well, there's the pinyon pines, but I just love this gray-green color of this bush. It looks like something like our euonymus back home. Lovely contrast with the gray-green and the dark green.
Okay. What is that, honey?
Sagebrush,
Okay.
stringy looking. Very pretty. You can smell the cedar.
Looks like a nice trail. What beautiful country here. Now as Nancy's walking down the trail, I'll come over to the left here, and these beautiful mountains, beautiful rock, and then down here, if you look closely, we can make out that arch, which we're going to be looking at a little bit later on here, where the Indians built their homes. I think there were 135 rooms in this area here. This is a unique cave over here on the side of the mountain where Indians once dwelled. I guess around 1300 AD, somewhere in that area. They lived right in the rock, right in the cave. Okay. Okay.
There's a clump of cactus here, and this one looks like it has a little cup yellow bloom on it.
Nancy is definitely the botanist. And
It's 452 feet high, Jimmy.
yeah.
370 feet wide.
Do you want to read this over here, what it says, the first paragraph anyway?
Since about 1300, Batatakan village has stood silent and empty as we see it today. A combination of environmental changes and human impact caused the Anasazi farmers who laid down roots here in the 1260s to abandon the village after only 3 decades.
30 years over here and then they disappeared.
No one is certain about where they went, but Hopi Indians, sharing many cultural traits and living only 50 miles south of here, near the Hopi Mesas, claim the Anasazi people of Betatakan and other Sagai Canyon villages as their ancestors.
And if you go down in the Barrancas del Cobre in Mexico, you'll find Indians that live just like this today. Just like this, when they say this is their people.
Now that we've had a look at the historic site, Nancy's entering some notes into her journal. Hi.
Prickly pear. It's the fruit of the prickly pear cactus is widely eaten by southwestern Indians. It's picked with a forked stick or wooden tongs, and the spines are broken or burned off. It may be eaten fresh or dried.
And what is her name?
Sequoia.
Sequoia. How old is she?
She's going to be 2 next month, the 11th of November.
She's beautiful. Do you live, where do you live? You live
In Kayenta, about
Oh, okay.
30 minutes away.
Well, we stayed in Kayenta for 2 days at the Hampton Inn, and we went out to Monument Valley. So it's a beautiful town. Kayenta looks like it's coming alive with a lot of
business.
A lot of business, yes.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll take your address and I'll send you a picture.
Okay.
Nancy spotted, it's a hawk, isn't it, honey? There you go. Go on, easy, Jimmy. It's a pretty, what's the word I want to use? Oh, there he goes. Gone. I think it might have been.
We've just come out of the Navajo National Monument and the beautiful Betatakan ruins. And here we have a coal mining operation on the Navajo territory, and this is the pipeline, a conveyor belt that actually goes 30 miles. It goes up over the mountain there. It's the second largest coal mining operation in the country, I guess. We're coming out of Tuba City and we're seeing some weird shapes. I don't know what to call these. Look
almost like lava, like we saw in Hawaii, don't they?
Right.
We're turning left for Flagstaff. We've just gone through the Metropolitan metropolis of Tuba City.
Weird.
Some rocks are beautiful and some are not so beautiful.
Right. There's the road up ahead to Flagstaff, and in the distance, in the haze, you can see the mountain. Humphreys, I think. Humphreys Peak. 12,070? 670. It's coming into these three high mountains here. We've got Sunset, and Humphreys, and then Kendrick. Right there. Coming into Flagstaff. Even though we're just outside Flagstaff in Arizona, these are called the San Francisco Peaks. And as you can see, there is snow up there.
What are you doing there?
Isn't this the life?
What a life. What a country, huh? Yeah, Nancy and I arrived here maybe about a half an hour ago. Come out in the summer where we can see you. And Esther Williams here wants to try the pool. Here's the pool. She hasn't had a chance to swim yet on this trip, and why today it's a blistering 56 degrees here in Flagstaff. And so she's trying to screw up her courage. Where'd she go? There you go. Of course, you notice I don't have my bathing suit on. Anyway, why don't you just turn around and tell us what a great time you're having.
Well, the sun feels nice and warm.
And we're in Flagstaff. We're hoping to see my nephew David Ollinger either today or tomorrow. And we'll be going on down through Sedona, and we're hoping to get to Sun City West by next Monday. But for now, we got 2 days to kill here in Flagstaff. It's, well, it gets around 5 o'clock right now on Thursday the 12th. Nancy, do you have anything else you want to add to this?
Well, we're hoping to see a mansion and go through it, and the Lowell Observatory. That should be interesting.
And tell us about the mountains. We're at the Reardon House, and we just spent an hour going through the house, and we're ready now to go have lunch with David. It's around 25 to 1 here in Flagstaff. Nancy, where'd you go, honey? There she is.
Lovely, isn't it?
Beautiful spot, yes. Okay, you're on. Whatever you guys want to say, talk about.
Well, Dave just treated us to a wonderful lunch at Buster's.
Yes, he did.
He made a good choice in the restaurant. It was excellent.
Well, Dave, we'll just show this to all your cousins, and I'm sure they'll be saying hi to you, and you can say hi to them. And
Hi to them also.
yeah, and we hope that you have a good career here in your real estate career here in Flagstaff, and it's been good to see you.
Somebody's got to talk.
Just that's always been that long.
Doesn't seem like that long, and David still wants to get back to Hobby Lane one of these days. We'd love to.
Oh, now you got it on tape.
We'd love to have him come to we'd love to have him come to Orchard Park sometime and see the old homestead.
And I'd love to go.
This is the Pluto Discovery Telescope. It's also known as the A. Lawrence Lowell Telescope. That's because Percival's brother Lawrence donated $10,000 to help pay for the grinding of the 3 lenses located at the very end of this telescope. Now, we use 3 lenses so that we can have a very short focal length, and also so that the entire field of view remains in a sharp focus. The way I like to start talking about the discovery of Pluto is by actually going back in time a little bit more and talking about the discovery of our 8th planet, Neptune. Neptune was discovered back in 1846 by 2 astronomers who weren't even looking for a planet. What they were doing is they were studying Uranus. And they noticed that Uranus kind of had a messed up orbit. Uranus was speeding up where it shouldn't be speeding up, and then it was slowing down where it shouldn't be slowing down. Well, instead of throwing out all of Newton's physics and all of Kepler's laws of planetary motion, they came up with an alternative idea. That was that maybe there was an 8th planet out there that was exerting a gravitational force on Uranus, causing it to speed up and slow down. They worked on these math problems for about 5 years. After that time, somebody finally looked through a telescope. And they discovered the planet Neptune in less than 1 hour.
Wow.
That is pretty cool. You get a pizza delivered to your house nowadays in less than an hour. These guys just identified Neptune. Actually, Neptune is the only planet in our solar system to have been discovered mathematically. So this was a huge step for astronomy. Well, in 1902, Percival Lowell was studying Uranus and Neptune. And he noticed that there was a little bit of a wobble between those two planets that wasn't explained using that previous math. So Percival proposed that there was yet one more planet out there, a ninth planet, Planet X. And in 1905, Percival Lowell hired 3 mathematicians from MIT to move out here to Flagstaff and start working on 3-dimensional, 3-body motion problems with him. I guess Percy must have just been a party animal. Just loved his math. I mean, me just saying the words, 3-dimensional, 3-body motion problem, it gives me a sharp pain in the eye. These problems are heinous. They're pages and pages long. They're also so complicated, they still haven't been solved to this day. Of course, Percival Lowell didn't have a computer. He didn't even have a calculator. What he was using was a pencil and a slide rule. They worked on these problems for 10 years. You can imagine trying to balance your checkbook for 10 years. And that's what these guys were trying to do in order to get these equations to balance. Well, they published their final paper in 1915. It was their final paper because Percival Lowell died in 1916. And with Percival Lowell died the search for Planet X. It wasn't until 10 years after all this that the search started to pick up steam again. That's when V.M. Slipher became our director, and V.M. Slipher might have been worried about running out of money. You see, Percival Lowell left in his will that the net income of his estate was to be applied to this observatory only on the condition that we continue to study our solar system and new astronomical problems as they arose. So he might have been worried about running out of this money. He was definitely trying to light a fire underneath his astronomers to get them to go back to work. Well, the astronomers said that they had to give up on the search for Planet X because they didn't have the right tools to locate it. You can imagine if I had a BB in my hand and I threw that BB off into the woods and said, okay, let's go find it. But while we're looking for it, just for kicks, let's look through this really long straw. It would take forever to locate that little piece of metal. Well, that's just what it's like when you look at the Clark Telescope. The Clark Telescope's a magnificent instrument, probably the finest telescope ever created. But that telescope will only look at one object at a time. What we needed was a telescope that would look at a larger portion of the night sky. So in 1926, the astronomers ordered this thing. This will view about 6 degrees of arc in the night sky, which is about the same area as 12 full moons stacked side to side. So you can survey the night sky fairly efficiently using this. It was finally completed and ready to operate in 1929. So it did take us 3 years to build this thing. Once it was up and running, we quickly realized we needed a grunt to operate this thing. We didn't want to pay the astronomers the big bucks to be up here wasting our money and their time using this tedious piece of equipment. Well, we lucked out back in 1929 because we happened upon a young Kansas farm boy by the name of Clyde Tombaugh. Now, Clyde was an amateur astronomer who built his own telescopes from scratch. He would then observe the planets through these telescopes and then make drawings of what he saw. He then sent some of these drawings here to Lowell Observatory just on a whim. He was just looking for a professional opinion on whether or not he was doing quality work. V.M. Slipher looked at these drawings and said, yeah, they're not that bad. We've got just the job for you. Come on out here to Flagstaff. So Clyde jumped on the train, moved here to Flagstaff, and started operating this instrument for us. What do you notice that's different about this scope than most telescopes you've seen before?
Is there a spectroscope on it?
No.
No eyepiece.
Yeah, there's no eyepiece on this telescope. Where do you put your eye? These are two telescopes completely different. Down here where you think you'd put your eye is this big flat area. It turns out that no one has ever looked through this telescope. No one ever will look through this telescope because what the astronomers ordered back in 1926 was basically a huge telephoto lens and a single-shot camera that exposes 17 by 14-inch glass plate emulsion. So this is really more of a camera than it is a telescope. The proper name for this instrument is an astrograph. So if you're going to be anal about it, you don't even call this thing a telescope. Now the way Clyde would operate this camera for us was by first rotating it down to this position so that he could take out this dark box and put in his unexposed film. He would then position the scope towards a portion of the night sky that he was interested in taking an image of. After positioning this thing properly, he would then turn on the tracking motor so that this thing would start to follow the stars as they moved across the night sky. Then he'd be able to open the shutter at the very end of the scope and start to take a 1-hour photograph. You might think taking a 1-hour photograph isn't that big a deal. After all, this thing is tracking the night sky automatically. And tracking mechanisms today are no more advanced than what they used back in the 1920s. We still use worm gears, reduction gears, and electric motors. The problem is that these gears are made of metals, and these metals don't wear down evenly. Over time, you're going to get some nicks and grooves in these gears. And after an hour's time of your telescope going over those nicks and grooves, it will look like somebody had been shaking your camera around. So you're not going to end up with a nice, sharp image. So the entire hour that Clyde was taking his photograph, he had to make sure this thing was tracking absolutely flawlessly. The way he did that was by looking through this guide scope here. When you look through the guide scope, you'll notice that there's some crosshairs in there, just like the scope on a rifle. Clyde would position a star right in the center of those crosshairs. Then for the entire hour that he was exposing his plate, he would hold onto the small control pad over here, glue his eye to this eyepiece, and then either advance or retard this electric motor over here to make sure that star never wavered. There was no time for a bathroom break or anything else like that for the entire hour. This is where Clyde was stuck. But every 10 minutes, though, he would have to look above his head real quick and make sure he wasn't taking a photograph of the roof. We do have some very fine photographs of this roof, but they didn't help us discover anything. After Clyde's hour was up, he then closed the shutter, turn off the tracking motor, rub his eye, take out his exposed plate, go downstairs, get another plate, come back up here and take another photograph. He would continue to take photographs until the sun rose, and he did this every clear, moonless night that he could. Well, when the sun would rise, he'd then go to sleep. After waking up in the afternoon, he would come back up here and develop his plates. After developing his plates, he would then examine those plates in the blink comparator to see if he had located anything. Now, if you guys looked at those plates in the blink comparator without looking through the eyepiece, you'll notice that there were literally hundreds of thousands of stars on each of those plates. Clyde compared nearly 200 plates for us the very first year that he worked here. I know that when he finally finished his tenure here at Lowell, he had spent over 7,000 hours looking through the blink comparator alone. So he was very committed to this project. I think he should have been committed by the time he left. He spent so much time on this stuff. Well, after a year, Clyde finally spotted something. He was sure that he had found a planet, and he wanted to tell the world. And I'll bet you V.M. Slifer just patted him on the head and said, no, that's not the way astronomy's done here at Lowell. We want to make sure we know what this object is before we tell anyone anything, because we don't want to embarrass ourselves. So we tracked this object for a number of weeks using the Clark telescope. After that time, we established a rudimentary orbit for this object, and we found that it was indeed our 9th planet. We were so excited about this that we didn't tell anyone. The reason we didn't tell anyone is because we wanted to pay a little tribute to Percival Lowell. After all, it was Percival Lowell's vision that led to this discovery. It was Percival Lowell's observatory which was used, and by a coincidence, this object was located less than 6 degrees from where Percival Lowell predicted it would be. So we waited until the 75th anniversary of Percival Lowell's birthday. Then we told the world, hey, there's a 9th planet out there. Of course, there was a huge contest to name this planet. The planet Neptune, it almost got named after the astronomers who discovered it. You can imagine being in a spacecraft, traveling past Saturn, Uranus, to the planet Bob. It's just a bad way to name a planet. Tradition has it that we name the planets up there after gods in Roman mythology. Well, we lucked out again because we happened upon an 11-year-old English girl by the name of Venetia Burney. Now, Venetia was studying Roman mythology at the time, and she had an amateur astronomer as her father. One morning she asked her dad, well, why don't you just call that silly thing Pluto and get it over with? Well, he thought it was a smashing idea. He pulled all the strings that he could and got a telegraph to us here in Flagstaff. We saw that name Pluto, and we fell in love with it immediately. And we couldn't have made up a better name than this to describe the planet. It turns out that Pluto is the Roman god of the underworld. And the underworld, in Roman mythology, is a very cold, dark, and mysterious place, just like the planet we're trying to talk about. There's another reason we like this name so much, though, and that's because every planet gets its very own symbol. The symbol for Mars is a circle with the arrow coming off the top. Most people recognize it today as the male symbol. The symbol for Venus is a circle with a cross down below. Most people recognize it today as the female symbol. Well, the symbol for Pluto is a capital letter P. And then superimposed on that capital P is the capital letter L. Those are the initials of Percival Lowell. Oh. Can't make stuff like this up. So it wasn't named after the Disney dog after all, for those of you who were wondering about that. And actually, Walt Disney was rumored to be living in the Sedona area in the 1930s. He came up with that cartoon character in 1936, which would be 6 years after our discovery. So Ozar, that dog, is named after our planet.
Observatory, a private institution founded by the Lowell family, of Percival Lowell in particular, of Massachusetts. This was a library building that they set up for study and scientific research. And this tree is the George Washington tree, because one of the discoveries here was dendrochronology. That is taking a core from a live tree to study the rings to determine the age of the tree. And that was discovered here. And up on the hill we have the Clark telescope, the first telescope that Percival Lowell installed here. He was an amateur astronomer, and because of his studies, lots of interesting other discoveries were made here, including, of course, all the astronauts. They all came here to study about the surface of the moon before they made the Apollo mission. They all came here and studied from what was observed and learned here about the surface of the moon. At the end of this long walk is another telescope where the planet Pluto was discovered, and this particular telescope actually takes photographic plates. And these symbols are of the moon and the planets and the distance between them. And as you can see, go a long way before you get to Pluto. It'd be the last plaque. It's quite a distance, and of course the other ones are clustered closer to the sun. Gives you some idea of the perspective of the distance of the different planets. Go.
Hi, well, Patrick said there's about 30 employees here, and there are 21 PhDs, which are astronomers that are doing a lot of research here. And I know what PhD stands for, but I won't really tell you on the video. Tables along the way here, we stopped at an Indian lookout spot, and they've got all these tables down here, down the ways you can see. All of them have little tents, or umbrellas over them, I should say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nancy's checking out
Got so many new things, and I just don't wear them.
some of the stuff. You can see her. There she is. And here's where we are, Oak Creek Vista. Well, it's Saturday around close to noon. We've just come out of Flagstaff. We're on our way down to Sedona. We are making a stop here at the Indian area here. It's Oak Creek Canyon begins here. And that's Oak Creek Canyon looking south towards Phoenix. And let's see, down there, if you look closely, I mentioned you'll see the road that we're going to be driving on, way down there.
To Sedona.
To Sedona. Okay, so we spotted this is the road we're going to be going down to Sedona, and there is what we call switchbacks. We had one place where we had 10 of these. It's really exciting to drive around them.
One of our ornaments off the tree.
As you come back, you'll see how the road continues on down. There's another switchback,
Right?
and there's another switchback, and you keep working your way down the mountain.
So you got me an ornament that you took
I'll tell you what, it keeps you awake,
You know, like,
especially when there's no rail there and the road's about 5 foot from the edge.
she's putting it back in the
What do you got there?
Oak Creek Recreation Area. It shows where we are, and it shows all the switchbacks and the picnic areas and campgrounds and trailheads all along the way.
Uh-huh.
I don't see Sedona. Sedona's up here.
Okay, I guess we'll move on, huh? So Nancy and I have stopped at an artesian well. She's getting some nice cold water. Sir, did you say it's the cleanest water around here?
Yes.
Cleanest water around.
Good artesian spring water.
Good artesian spring water. I think I'll just take a shot and I'll show our friends home.
You need to come down and get some of this. It's great stuff.
You sure? This is proof positive the water is good. Look at that. That's great. Thank you. Boy, that water is really coming out with a strong pressure, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It really is.
And it never stops. It's always going like that, huh?
24 hours a day, all 360.
24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Best water in Arizona.
Best water in Arizona. What did I tell my sister? She's in Sun City West, and I'm not too keen with that water.
Is that where you live, sir?
No, that's where my sister lives.
This is an entrance to a home on the road down Oak Creek Canyon here on the way to Sedona. And the reason they chose this spot is that there's our beautiful cliffs all around them. Pine forests and then the cliffs. Beautiful. You can hear a woodpecker in the trees. Still in Oak Creek Canyon on our way down to Sedona. And of course, it's a Saturday, so it's very busy. The campgrounds and the trailhead parking lots are all full. No wonder, it's a gorgeous day.
Well, we just pulled off the road here at in the canyon, the Oak Creek Canyon, and I wanted to get a shot of Nancy sitting here and enjoying the water. And you can see the
Indian Gardens.
Yeah, we're at Indian Gardens. Indians had gardens here at this site probably about 200 years ago. And there's a stream going down through the canyon. Beautiful sound. The water always sounds so nice. Well, before we leave Indian Gardens, I thought I would just take a shot of the mountains across the road. It's very beautiful here, the red rock. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit here if I can. And now we're going to head on down south towards Sedona.
After Indian Garden, the canyon's starting to open up here. It was very narrow coming down. So it's widening out a little bit here. Still some forested covered slopes. That's a good shot. Whoa. This is a really beautiful rock here. This came through over a bridge over the canyon, Oak Creek Canyon. Here's the other side of the road. We're definitely coming into different flora and fauna here with cactus and different types growing here. And of course at the end of the street, the reason for them being here is the beautiful red rocks. And they're terrific. Here's someone's front yard and it's very nicely landscaped with cactus and evergreens.
It's right here.
Hey.
Okay, there's a little bit of cowboy in all of us, they say, right?
I don't know what his name is, but he's very friendly.
Very friendly guy, yeah. Well, hi, it's about 4 o'clock here in Sedona. We've just had a nice little meal and walked around up and down the village, and the sun is to a point where I thought I could take one more shot of these beautiful mountains here in Sedona, the Red Rock Country. Well, we just climbed this mountain here to St. John Vianney Catholic Church. We're checking out when the masses are. And it's a beautiful little entrance here going around, and Nancy's staying over here by a grotto.
Outstanding roses.
Blessed Virgin Mary. We're about to enter the church, and they're up on top of a mountain here. And this is the view that you get here from the entrance. I guess those mountains over there behind the pine trees. What a gorgeous day. What a gorgeous spot. Okay.
In memory of all the innocent victims of abortion. Anyone who welcomes a little child in my name welcomes me, from Matthew 18:5. This is presented by the St. John Vianney Knights of Columbus.
The Diocese of Phoenix. We have now entered the chapel, or the church here. I don't know if you can see the mountains through the windows, but there they are. And here we have some urns, some earthen vessels, and there's the oil of the catechumens, and the holy chrism, to use in their baptisms.
This is the foyer of the church of St. John Vianney in Sedona. It's beautiful, Our Lady of Guadalupe, and Spanish type furnishings. Quite impressive foyer of a church.
It's a very unusual statue of Christ just outside the church as we go in.
Nail-scarred hands.
Really nice.
Very nice landscaping.
Yes, it is. A nice backdrop, too. And as we look up, we see the bell. of the church. Well, we've just checked out of our hotel and we're ready to go to Mass up on the hill, but I thought we would just photograph this little site here. It's at the end of a street. It's what they call a cul-de-sac, and got the mountain here and a real special garden. A lot of cactus in it. There's a house up there in the hill. And as you swing around, this looks to us like it might be a site for Indian ceremonies. At first I thought that was a fireplace, but it looks like a monument. And then finally over here, this is probably the largest prickly pear we have seen so far. It's quite a cactus. I wouldn't want to fall into that baby. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more as we go on down through towards Sun City West. We're going to go stop at Jerome and the Montezuma Castle. Okay, see you later.
We're in Sedona. It's Sunday morning. We've just come out of Mass, and these gardens here are very desert type gardens and homes. Different styles than we're used to with the flat roofs and the adobe type materials. Here's another one that's a lot different style than our homes that we're used to, and desert. And here we have the famous coffee pot. You can see the handle on the left and the cap on the top and the spout on the right. And there's a street named after it and a famous restaurant down below. And of course it's it's the end rock from a series of rocks. Mountains, I should say. Not rocks, mountains here. Got mountains, mountains, mountains. And the famous coffee pot. Right there. There's some very attractive desert landscaping in front of this building here. Some outstanding cactus. Larger than man size there. Beautiful. And the shrubs, it's very, very nicely done. This is a type of nightclub here. Very nice. This is the same nightclub. They have lovely murals on the walls. And they even have roses in full bloom, a huge bush at the front door. Very nice.
See, senorita, welcome to my adobe. Is that a nice place? Very nice place I have. Nice Spanish cuisine.
This is just charming and elegant looking. And out on the patio they have arches and beams and lovely. This is the place we stopped to take the landscaping outside. The inside is very nice too. Very pretty. Lots of stone and wood and charming. Archways, big doors. Well, we're just entering Jerome, and it's really perched up on the side of the mountain here, isn't it?
Look at the name of the street. Can you see it here?
Oh.
Douglas Road.
Right. Well, here's Douglas Road at the bottom. Well, actually, we're at the top of a mountain. We just came up. And then we're,
Can you pick out that brick wall over here on the right? See it? Over the whole wall, it was all stone.
oh, there's a stone wall. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Everything has to be walled or
That's it.
or it slides down the mountain. Everything's perched up, way up.
Oh, my nose is starting to bleed. Look out.
Hillside, and this is down the hillside.
Well, maybe we'll wait. I think that's the museum up ahead that we're with Jerry and Joe.
Right. Yeah, this does drop down. Oh my, yes. This is it's quite a, a drop down here. And there's the museum we're heading for. There's this is a hotel that the mining outfit built for its for the mine workers when this was a mine from the 1880s to the 1950s. There we are. This is some of the mining equipment here. Huge girders type things. We're at the James Douglas Mansion up at the top in Jerome here. And these are some of the different style of cars that they use to haul the ore out. And well, that's pretty good.
How's that look? Babe Ruth.
Terrific. They hauled the coal and, of course, timbers to support the mines, and they got copper, silver, and gold out of these mines. The Little Daisy was the name of this particular one. These are the streets of Jerome, and they're so steep that the people's front steps going up to their houses are a little different here.
Very narrow, too. Very high. If you look to your left, you're up about 6,000 feet. Don't look over that way. Just look where you look.
Would you say this is a narrow street or what? There's no parking here anywhere, nowhere to turn around. This is a little mountain town up on the mountain. This is the approach to Jerome. We just turned around.
We just turned
on the mountain
around.
road. I don't know how Jimmy did it, but he did it. It's amazing.
Look straight ahead. You can see that switch back up there.
Right.
Oh.
It's this is a mountain town, all right.
Here comes a car. Just like a roller coaster.
Yes, it sure is.
Road narrows.
Road narrows, right?
Speed checked by radar. This is good recording here. People live on these mountains, right on your right. They're right on the cliff.
Right, they're
look at these homes.
They're over the edge.
You gotta be kidding me. Anybody got a parachute?
It is a narrow road. Incredibly narrow. And down below is...
There's the old school, I think, right?
The old high school, which is abandoned. After the mines closed, of course, most of the people left.
Oh, this is wide here. Elevation 5,000. Up ahead, you want to take some more. I think this is an abandoned house here on your right. I don't know if you can get it in. You're so close to it. Yeah, this place. It's an abandoned house. Another abandoned house. There we go.
There's the fire company here on a sharp curve. And we have to go all the way around here.
Yeah, this is interesting.
To Main Street.
All the motorcycles and stuff.
This is Main Street. The back of these buildings is off the end of the cliff, and some of the buildings do slide down. And
this is where Nancy bought earrings for the girls when we came here in 1987. I remember that.
Right.
The motorcycles are taking up all the parking spots.
This is Jerome, mining town in Arizona. Hey, this is where we found a parking spot, and it's the Jerome Grill. And I remember, and so does Jim, we sat in the front window there with Jerry and Joe when we came here to Jerome the last time. This historic building from 1899. Yes, these houses are perched literally on a cliff.
They have no front yard and no backyard. They're crazy, basically. They have no front yard.
These are the homes that we just drove by a minute ago up on the road above, and these are the backs of them.
They have no front yard and they have no backyard. They have no brains, I think.
Yeah. We've been passing these strange flat places marked with stones, looks like, and we're on our way to Tuzzigut National Monument. Structure up on top of a hillside here. Very interesting. We're driving up there in a minute and see what it looks like. It's the entranceway.
Hi, honey. How you doing?
Tuzzigut is Apache for crooked water, and this is the remnant of a Singoan village built between 1125 and 1400 on this long ridge that rises 120 feet above the Verde Valley. There's desert all around, so this valley was like an oasis with the Verde River running through it.
Okay.
The original pueblo was 2 stories high in places and had 77 ground floor rooms. With few exterior doors, the entry was by way of ladders through an opening in the roof. There were about 50 people here for 100 years, and then the population doubled and doubled again as refugee farmers fleeing drought in outlying areas settled here.
And around 1450, they left unexpectedly, and no one knows why. And that was about 100 years before. Hi, honey. It's a little sunny looking to the west here. Just wanted to finish up what I was saying, that when the Indians left, nobody knows why. And this was more than 100 years before the first Europeans rode into this valley. Over 400 burial sites have been discovered alongside the remains here. That's the end of the story. What I've done now is come to the very rooftop of this settlement, and I'm looking down on the remains, and I'll take a quick shot how they could see 200 miles in the distance from this rooftop. And they were looking for traders that would bring good news or bad news, goods. They played games up here on the roof. It was from the year 1000 to about 1450. And now as I come down from the rooftop, I'm attempting to photograph some of their actual living quarters here that they lived in many years ago. It's hard to believe that Indians once lived in this dwelling some 500 to maybe 800 years ago. This is what remains of their lives. They sure were industrious people. Quite amazing, huh, honey?
It's interesting.
Having a good time?
Yes, I'm enjoying it.
Up here, I just met these people up here, and the lady on the left is from Switzerland, living in. Oh, you're from Germany, living in Switzerland, And the other couple are living in Australia for how many years?
32 years. Well,
I was born in Australia.
She's an Australian through and
Wow.
through.
So
She's
how
a
many?
dinky die Aussie.
Yeah.
How many Americans have you seen on this trip? Not too many, right?
Not too many traveling. Not too many traveling.
Can you tell us something about the vacation plans where what the people do? You say they just go away for how long?
Well, we have 4 weeks holiday a year. And that's even after 1 year's working, you get 4 weeks. So you've got lots of time to do things with. They get lots of rostered days off.
Plus rostered days off, plus public holidays. I mean,
Wow.
most workers get at least 6 to 7 weeks a year.
How about in Germany or Switzerland, man? What's that like?
In Switzerland you get 4 weeks off. That's normal.
That's it.
20 days. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And then you were saying some places just close, like for a month or something like that?
Yeah.
Close up for Christmas
Our
holidays.
school teachers get 12 weeks holiday a year
Wow.
That's
in Australia.
Oh.
That's the same.
Well, as I say, we haven't seen too many Americans. We've been on this trip for 2 weeks, and we're seeing a lot of people from Europe, and it's wonderful. But not too many.
In Germany, anyway. If you're over in Germany, have a good time over there.
Buffalo, New York, we're from.
Okay.
Thank you so much. For there.
Well, I went over there for farming, and because at the time in 1968, when I went over, land was cheap. Not so much so now. I mean, it's hard for Americans or hard for anybody to immigrate to Australia. But like I say, 1968 land was cheap. I went farming. Now I'm a contractor over there. But you know, Australia is a continent the same size as the United States, a continental United States. We only have 19 million people in the whole continent.
But you're going to be here 3 months, you say?
I'm going to be here 3 months, and then I've bought a motorhome, and when I'm finished, then I ship it back over there, and I'll have to convert it to right-hand drive and what have you, but I can still do that cheaper than.
And then we'll travel around Australia.
Then we're going to travel around Australia.
Tell me about that operation. You say you're going like 3-4 months or something like that?
Well, I'm a contractor, and I contract in the cotton industry, and so during the harvest season, I pick up the cotton modules that they build when they're picking cotton. I pick them up and put them on a truck with a big machine that I have, and send them off to the cotton gin. And I work 3-4 months of the year real hard, 7 days a week, 18, 20 hours a day.
What a country!
But hey, I make enough money to keep me going the rest of the.
That's great.
The rest of the year.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your life with us.
You're welcome.
Well, good morning. It's Monday morning, October 16th. It's a beautiful day. We're approaching the Montezuma Castle, and I'm going to approach. As we approach it, you'll see more and more as we go around the corner. Nancy and I were here with Jerry and Joe, I think it was 1987. And we're looking forward to seeing it again. Okay, hon.
Welcome to the castle. Don't you suppose it must have stopped the settlers and soldiers who first saw the cliff dwelling over a century ago? The odd name came from a mistaken belief that the cliff dwelling was a castle Aztec refugees had built for their emperor. We know now that Montezuma never strayed this far north from his home in Mexico, but the name has stuck.
Okay. A farming community of perhaps 200 people prospered here for more than 3 centuries.
Probably read it somewhere. Yeah. Hello, you can hold this.
You can see caves along the way underneath the homes. Look closely, you'll see caves.
Storage rooms.
Right. They were used for storage. Get you really close so you can see them over here. They don't tell us how long the ladders would have been, but I would guess that they were several hundred feet at least to get up to this settlement. The idea here was that they were protected from the snow and the rain and from enemies, and they weren't using the land below to live on because they were using that for their farming. We just spotted a cave here that they probably used for storing foods and goods. It's a rather large cave, actually. I'd like to go in there and scout around. It's all off limits now. These are the remains of a people next door. They say 250 people lived here at one time, and like the other castle, it was from year 1200 to 1450. Lived here about 250 years. This one has gone into disrepair. It's a little bit harder to see just where the people lived. So they were here and gone before Columbus even discovered America.
It's a grinding stone.
It's really something to think about.
Every meal, it was their high tech.
Rock squirrels abound here, and there's one right here. Oh, there he goes. He was begging for food. Is a rock squirrel, pretty good sized squirrel, very, very tame here. Whoop. Well, we're in the desert here. It hasn't rained for months, and yet 800 years ago, this Beaver Creek here that you can hear but probably not see is what attracted the Indians to the site, because this is fed by artesian springs, and the water is running very quickly through here. Everywhere else we have been, all the creek beds are dry as a bone. But Beaver Creek was the lifeline of these Indians here.
Windows in the past. Cliffside home to 3 centuries of resourceful Sinagua farmers. Montezuma Castle has clung tenaciously to its limestone ledge for more than 800 years. But time and weather and people have taken their toll.
I also noticed that the two different colors of the castle itself, the monument itself. 3 years ago, the Rangers went up there and put a surface on just the exterior of the cliff to kind of help preserve it. Now that was done 3 years ago. They say it'll take about 100 years before that'll blend in with the other surface of the mountain.
No, dear, don't push on those, please, you'll bend the ends. They cost a lot of money if you have to buy them.
They didn't have any grass for the cattle. So
About 30 years ago there was a drought?
About 30 years, not a little more than 30 years. In the early 63.
There's a drought in Texas,
Big drought in the cattle ranching area of Texas, the San Angelo area. And we had just moved out there, and we found that these ranchers were taking like flamethrower attachments they put on their back, and they'd go out and burn all these spines off the cactus, and the cows would eat this stuff, and they'd get water and nourishment.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, they call it burning pear. And you read here that about the little fruits that grow on here at times, and then just the whole leaf here will have these little fruits sticking out. In fact, we saw some yesterday in Phoenix area growing off there. Some of them turn purple when they get real ripe, and you can carefully pluck the pear and then peel them and eat them, and they're pretty fair. I don't really go for them, but some people really love them. But I don't get anything out of them.
Thank you very much. Spanish call them?
Tunas.
Tunas.
Like our tuna fish, you know, they're called tunas. And you can buy them by the kilo in the Mexican markets.
Interesting.
Well, this plant here is the largest of all the prickly pear in Arizona. It is a big, big plant.
We're in the town of Camp Verde, and we're approaching the fort, which is a state historic park.
Well, these individuals were assigned either permanently or temporarily to Camp Verde, Arizona Territory. While stationed here, their personal action in combat was above and beyond the call of duty, earning them the nation's highest award, the Congressional Medal of Honor. Some were USS Scouts, and some were from the cavalry. The Winter Campaign, 1872, 1873. And the awards were awarded in April of 1875.
Every year, during the Indian Wars period, we had 43 military forts. Like this fort, not a one of them had a wall or a stockade around it, and like this fort, not a one was ever attacked by hostile Indians. In fact, in the Trans-Mississippi West or Southwest of the Indian Wars period, 168 military forts, that includes Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, in that general area. 168 military forts, 18 of them had some type of wall, stockade, or barricade around or even within the fort to protect them from any atrocities. For example, Fort Stockton had a wire fence around it. That's to keep the buffalo out, not the Indians. Now this post as built had 22 structures covering 55.5 acres. The 4 buildings that remain are the original structures built of adobe and wood in 1871. So you're standing right now in the original headquarters building of the fort. There's a museum through the doorway. Across the street behind you is Officers' Row. That consists of the commanding officer's quarters, the bachelor quarters, and the doctor's quarters and office, all of which are open and furnished in the style of the 1880s, so you can walk through them as well. This is a painting done off of a photograph taken in 1880. That's what our Officers' Row did look like. So right down to the weeds that I still have in the front yard today. Doctors always did surgery in their quarters. If the victim lived through the surgery, he'd go to the hospital to recuperate. Hospital was across the parade field. The 2 photographs up here show the post from the east in the upper photograph and from the west in the lower photograph. Gives you a good idea what the place did in fact look like. And for reference, I'm not going to poke anybody, but for reference sakes, we're standing in this building right here at the present time, looking from the east again. These are Indian ruins up on the bluff to the east of us over here. The river actually runs right down below the bluff right down through here. The post did in fact have running water to all of the buildings in 1874. The water that they had came out of an irrigation ditch that was dug by the Indians under contract with the government in 1871. This building right here still stands. This is a pump station, pumped water. A 6 horsepower steam ram engine pumped water up here to the water storage tanks, and gravity flowed down to the fort. We had telegraph in 1874, 1875. Our post surgeon requisitioned an ice making machine for the hospital. Turned down by the department commander as being frivolous and unnecessary, so it was never installed.
Huh.
The lower photograph is taken from the other side, looking east. In fact, this photograph up here was taken right up on this little bluff right here behind the Indian ruins. For reference, we're standing in this building right over here. The laundress's quarters, the enlisted barracks back across here, the haystacks, and the cavalry stables back along here.
I guess my question was, this was built primarily to protect the people from the Indians, wasn't it? Or that's what I read somewhere.
The military was here for a number of different reasons. First off, you got to remember that the military were the first federal police in the territories, before the marshals and the sheriffs and things like that. Secondly, yes, under government orders, the military was rounding up Indians and putting them on the reservations. They were teaching the Indians on the reservations how to farm, how to raise crops, build homes, to more or less assimilate them into the Anglo society. Thirdly, they were doing all the survey work. These are the guys that came in and surveyed all the mountains, the rivers, built the roads. The infantry did most of the construction work. The cavalry did escort duty. They did prospecting, looking for gold and silver, resources for the area that they were in, that they would do it at any occasional time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a number of different reasons for the military being here, yes.
What years was this fort occupied?
April of 1871 through April of 1891, 20 years almost to the day. It was designed to be operational for 10 years, but they reopened it 3 times.
What, the Medal of Honors that were given out here, obviously that was for skirmishes, but where were those battles?
A number of different places. One of the primary battles, in the last battle with the Indians, if you will, the last confrontation with the hostiles in the northern half of Arizona was the Battle of Big Dry Wash, 38 miles east of here, up on the rim. A number of Indians had broken from the reservations. The only Indians that are actually called hostile Indians were those that had broken from the reservations. And these Indians had broken from the San Carlos Reservation and stolen about 100 head of cattle and horses, primarily horses, and had gone up over the rim and were in hiding up there trying to work their way north with the cattle and horses. And the military surrounded them with several different companies from different posts, actually, used telegraphic information to get this information back to them, and they surrounded the Indians and had their little battle up there, and got the horses and cattle back. And that was the last confrontation with the hostiles in northern Arizona.
And that was in what year?
1882.
So that is how some of these fellows earn their Congressional Medal of Honor?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Fort Verde, typical officers' quarters and room. There were 250 soldiers that served here at any one time, 1850 to 1870, a period of about 20 years, right after the Civil War. Well, here's a in Fort Verde, the room for the surgeon where he did his surgery. And there's the table, and we have a shot of some of his tools. You see there scalpels, and I think we see a saw there. And this is going back around 1860, 1870. So this is just a surgeon's workroom, and some of the pharmaceuticals. Wheelchair over there. So this has been preserved now here for about 130 years, thereabouts. This is the surgeon's quarters that we just came out of, and there's some mountains in the background. Some of our officers' quarters, walkway, and then the parade grounds, a rather large flag, and the mountains again in the background.
We're heading down towards Phoenix, and we're excited because we're seeing our first saguaro, those tall cactus. Whoops. It's hard to catch them. These are really neat cactus, and they take hundreds of years to grow. They're protected by, we're now entering Sun City West, and there's beautiful palm trees lining the way, and saguaro and cactus plantings in the middle here. Very nice. Huge cactus and lovely plantings here.
Look at this saguaro there.
Whoops. Very attractive entranceway to this Sun City West. Here we are at Jerry and Joe's house. We arrived yesterday at supper, late afternoon, and they gave us a lovely dinner. And they have this huge saguaro in front of their house. The landscaping, of course, is different colored stones and gravel. They have a little patio area in front. The garbage cans are recessed into the ground, and the larger stones are the property lines. This is looking towards their next door neighbor's house and into their yard. This is the front view. Very pretty home. We have a few walkers coming down the street. There isn't very much traffic walking or car coming down, but there's a few fellows out bravely for a walk in the heat. So we can get a close-up on them. Here's Joe to feed the quail. He's got them trained to go in his backyard here. Feeds them twice a day right into the crazy cactus. Here comes more running to get the food.
You zooming in on them?
Yeah.
Did you get Joe at all?
Yep.
Look at them go, aren't they funny? I told Joe I'd take a couple of them back with us. There. We're out to Luke Air Force Base. I've been watching these babies for about an hour. These jets, I'm not sure where he's going now. Is he coming in or is he going out? Where is he? There he is. A little hard to pick up here. These two guys just flew by and now they're splitting up and they're going to land one at a time. Before, two of them came in side by side to land. I've never seen that before. I think he's coming around now. Oh, he's fast. I lost him. I lost him. I can't believe that. I wouldn't make a very good gunner, would I? Pick him up. Four of them are coming to land right now. One, two, what the heck? The other two guys took off. Where'd they go? There he is. Here comes four. Here comes number 5. Oh hi, I just thought I'd come out. It's getting near dusk over here and the sky is really beautiful, and I thought I would scoot out and just record some of this on the camcorder. It's just beautiful here right now. The skies are looking great. It's just 6 o'clock here now on October the 19th, and Nancy and I just came back out from the Luke Air Force Base. We saw some nice jets out there, And I just thought I'd record this sky as it's setting up right now. Looking beautiful.
Here we've got a picture of quail in Jerry and Joe's living room, and it's part of a group of quail pictures. Of course, they feed the quail. Joe feeds them every day, so they gather here right in the yard. This is their living room. Very nice. Some beautiful wood pieces on the table that Joe has made. This is a bowl that Joe made out of wood that's filled one side with turquoise. Very pretty. Very pretty, and Jim's admiring that.
I'm very pretty too, aren't I?
And Joe's doing
You're beautiful.
Joe, if you want to step aside and show us that, yeah, that little lamp. That's pretty cool. That's
zoom in on it.
Seasonal wood with the light behind it, and it changes for the seasons.
Okay, I'm trying to pick up this F-18 coming in for a landing here. They're coming in from the other direction today. It's a little bit more traffic over here. It's a little harder. So we get the picture, but I'm going to try to get this guy coming in. They come in so fast. Today I found out Luke Air Force Base is the home of the largest fighter pilot training base in the world. It's called the Air Education and Training Command, and they fly F-18s. Two of them are coming in now. I'm going to try to get them on tape here. Where are these guys? Here they come, here they come, here they come. They do that a lot here. They come in side by side. It's beautiful to watch. And then one will proceed to land, and the other one will then just take off again and circle around again. You know, you don't see them coming, and all of a sudden here they are. Anyway, this is a 310th Fighter Squadron called the Top Hats. I'm going to go around the other side where they're taking off and there's less traffic, and you'll be able to hear me a little bit better. Okay, I'm practicing here. There's that second guy, I know he's coming around to land now. I'm going to see if I can stay up with him. Here he's coming. Oh, it's so hard. They are so fast. Swinging around, coming in. Where is he? I lost him again. Here he comes in. Boy, is it hard to stay with him. Hi, well, I've come down to the other far end of the runway. It was a long drive around. This is where the planes were coming in the other day. Today they're going to be taking off, and there's about 6 or 7 jets down there that were waiting for a couple planes to land, so I'm anticipating some takeoffs here very shortly, and I'm going to do my best to get it on tape, so stand by. Okay, the first one's taking off, but I really can't pick it up. It's pretty far away yet. Here it comes. Well, it's eating time here for the quail.
California and Texas.
They're having a ball here.
And anything I order through the mail.
They're fun to watch run around. Here they come, here they come.
I don't understand that, but I guess it's only certain states that require them to pay it.
Right.
With all that mail, I ended up with some notepaper. I always take these and forward them.
Can't see them now. They're all on the other side of the bush.
I've got paper to make notes and stuff.
There he comes. Well, it's October the 24th, around 3 in the afternoon. We're going to be leaving here in about 3 days. I thought I'd take a good shot of the front of the house, Jerry and Joe's home. It's a really beautiful swirl they have out in front. We're going to try to get some other shots of other homes around here, a few other houses with the landscaping, and I'll also go around and get a shot at the back of the house too. And this is a brief shot of the home next door and what some of the other homes look like as to the landscaping and their style of home. I'm going alongside the garage now, and oh, who's coming? Who is this? Oh, wow. I hear. Yeah, she had a hole-in-one. We played miniature golf yesterday. Nancy had a hole-in-one, and today she's been out here policing the area and picking up stuff, and I was just showing everyone here the nice walkway that Joe built. And I'm going to go around the back of the house here in a minute. How you doing, dear?
Great.
Okay. What do you got there, honey? What are those?
I'm going to put it in my hair like Hawaiian.
Oh, wow. What kind of flowers are those, do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Joe and I, actually Joe did the trimming. He trimmed this center one so that these two side shoots can have room to grow.
Okay.
And he trims this bush up like a tree so it gives shade but you can still see through.
Well, the tree's grown a lot in the 6 years they've been here. So look at the rest of their backyard.
Cute little birdhouse with a copper roof.
Well, let me zoom in on that. Oh, yeah. He's got 2 of those, I believe. Cute, that's huh? Nice, yeah. You're cute, too. This one cactus here, Joe calls his crazy cactus. That's where all the quail hang out. When they moved here 6 years ago, it was just a tiny little plant, and the thing really has taken off. And that's my favorite rock. That's a beautiful rock that the landscaper put in here. It's a bright orange color, but you can't tell right now it's in the shade. We're coming around to the back of their house, and this is the porch that they spend a lot of the time on. And if I go around the corner, I think Jerry might be sitting over here doing some reading. There she is. There they are. The 2 queens of the area. How you doing, Jerry?
I'm doing just fine.
Good. This is your first time on our TV show here, you know.
Sure is.
I hear you're going to go out to take us out to a Mexican restaurant tonight.
Yes, you are.
And what are we going to have to eat?
Well, I don't know. Nancy, I think, is going to have fajitas.
Uh-huh.
Joe will probably have a chimichanga.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what I have until I get there. And
what were you recommending for me?
well, I don't know. You're going to have to jump in and try it or taste ours or whatever.
Okay. Now I was noticing Joe just recently purchased this nice wood stove here, and he's got it all stoked up for our happy hour in a little while. We're going to have a little fire going here. I mean, it's up to 70. It's been down to 60. I mean, we had to put our overcoats on here the last couple of days, but it's been a lot of fun, and it's cooled off a little bit, and they've had the rain they've been needing. So I think I'll shut off now, and we'll catch you a little bit later. Those guys are still coming around. I think I hear them back there. If you make 150, Joe, do you think you got much chance of doing that?
No.
Well, it's 4:30, and we're getting ready for a happy hour, and Joe's just started a nice fire here in his new fireplace here. It's got 3 openings to it. It's really neat. We got some other people over here kind of loafing a little bit today, getting all geared up to rest. And I thought I'd get a good shot of this fireplace, so that's really neat. I like that.
I don't know why I tried it.
After we have our happy hour, then we're gonna go out, and I understand we're going to a Mexican restaurant to have Mexican food, and there's a chance that Eric might be meeting us there. So I just thought I'd record this.
And we're here today playing miniature golf. And some of the holes are pretty hard. There you go, Joe.
Okay, honey, she's up here teeing up on the 10th hole. There it goes. How's it looking down there? Here comes Joe's turn now. The landscaping here is really beautiful. There he goes.
Whoop! All right, Joe!
All right.
Hey, that's togetherness. We're all three cozied up there.
This is me, and this is Joe, and that's Nancy.
All right. Uh-oh.
Steps up here to make her shot.
Putting the pressure. It's a long one. I don't know if
You can make it. I knew it. I knew it. Nice go. Here we are on 12, and I thought we'd take a shot of Nancy here. Here it goes. Oh.
Oh, I was lucky.
Did it go down in there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was lucky.
Good shot. The center. All right. Good shot, huh?
Yep.
So you both went down the center, huh?
Well, mine bounced around a lot, but it finally went down. I get it. I get it.
Just want to make sure. How's it looking?
Okay. Oh my gosh, it's good. It's good.
Thought I'd take a pan of this beautiful course here. I wanted to get a shot of this rock today because the sun is hitting it just right. It's a beautiful red rock, typical of Sedona and some of the other places that we've been. And it's really a beautiful specimen. And look down the backyards here. A while back here I thought I would take a sweep of the other backyard going in the other direction. This is a little treasure that Joe picked up some years ago in the desert. And he's been here for 6 years, as long as they built the home. He's been watching over the property here.
Jerry made hard-boiled eggs, so I made a nice salad.
Joe's got some wine there. Yeah, let me see, Jerry, what do you got there?
An egg salad, not egg salad, but hello.
Well, our friends have come back again to eat. Whoops, let's see if I can get a better look at them here. Yeah, some just got chased away by the others there. A lot of squawking going on, but not too much eating right now.
bought new for the other house, and they're still pretty new. Let me know.
Okay, honey.
This is my favorite saguaro, and that's because it has its arms up and its big nose sticking out.
A big nose like who?
I don't know, like a clown.
How tall would you say that is? Well, 20 feet anyway, I would think.
Maybe.
Okay, that's great. Well, what have we here? We're getting ready to go to Carol and Henry's for dinner, right, honey?
Right, but we had to stop and take a picture of the beautiful landscaping.
Okay, I'll do a little pan here. Pretty big trees here. It's going on 5 o'clock and the sun is in a perfect spot, so we thought this would be a good time to get some pictures. There's a big palm tree there. And this is a miniature golf course. Nancy and I played another game today with Joe, and we played the other day. We've had a lot of fun here. What do you think, Nancy? Would you like one of these in your backyard?
Oh yes, miniature golf.
We had a lot of fun, didn't we?
Yes, we.
Well, before we leave, we thought we'd get a shot of this rather large saguaro. This is one of the biggest ones around. And this guy here is probably a couple hundred years old. He's got a few bruises and marks on him. He's been through the mill a few times, but big saguaro. This is where Carol and Henry live. We're coming here for dinner tonight, and I guess the sun's kind of going down a little bit, but I wanted to get a quick shot of it. See if Carol comes out. Come on out, Carol. Come on out, Carol. There she is. We're taking a good shot of your beautiful home. Is Henry home yet?
Carol says that they cut these down to the ground in the spring and they grow all this high.
Really? What, this one over here you mean? Right here?
Both of them. This one, the ones in the back.
Wow. Is Henry home yet?
Oh no.
He said he'd be home by 5, I thought.
Well, they got lots of work to do tonight.
Okay. Very good. I'm starting right now. Hi, Carol and Henry and Nancy. We just had a wonderful meal, and before we leave, I thought that I would get you on film. Carol, do you have anything you want to say to anybody?
Just how wonderful it's been to have you here, and how nice it'll be to see everybody else eventually when we get back there to say hello.
Yeah, you got to meet a lot of our family tonight, didn't you?
Absolutely. It was great.
Wonderful. Henry, can you say anything that you... Can you think of anything you might want to say at all?
Shy. My husband, right? Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, he's shy.
I'm surprised he's shy, but I know how.
Oh,
turn
am I
that
shy?
point- no, but yeah, I know when the camera's on, sometimes it does get people nervous. Carol and Henry were kind enough to get us a beautiful Passionist enrollment for prayers and remembrances, and I'm very pleased about this. This is very special, very nice, thoughtful gift.
Our pleasure.
And now we're going to have some Harveys and just relax and enjoy the evening here.
Wonderful. Okay.
And did you get muffin?
No, I'll get Muffin. Here, Muffin, come on. There it
This
goes.
is my baby.
Okay, I can't see her face. There she
There
is.
she is.
Hi, Muffin.
Muffin.
Oh,
Good to
how
come, honey.
cute.
Well, honey, don't talk to her. She'll look at you. Jim, call her.
Muffin. There she is. Well, thank you very much for having us over. We enjoyed it.
Come back soon.
Come see us in Orchard Park sometime.
You bet.
We will.
Okay.
Down to Guaymas for the boys to do some sport fishing.
In Mexico.
In Mexico, and we were going to do some fishing. And we went in the hotel, and Joe and the boys went in and came out and said, Mom, we're not staying here. And I said, why not? It was so much a day that we would have to go sports fishing. So we got out of there and went next door and got in a second-rate place there, but we stayed there and went to the restaurant, which clipped us because we didn't know about the Mexican money and they shortchanged you all the time. And then unfortunately we went back there to go fishing, and all they got, David got a shark, and all they got was kelp.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to go to American Settlement on the other side of the bay and see about fishing there.
Mm-hmm.
And I met two men who said, we're over there in those little homes over there, $20 a day, maid service, water delivered, you know, good water delivered. We had a 2 or 3 bedroom place with a living room, and it was fantastic.
Wonderful.
But then we went down to the restaurant, which was beautiful. Linen tablecloths, crystal,
wow,
mariachis, and all that. We ate there. The boys just went like this. They were young. Their eyes, you know, boy. The food was cheaper than we had been clipped at the other place.
Ah, that's great.
So lots of experiences. We went out, we rented a boat, and a captain and his helper, and we went out fishing out in the ocean. And we saw sailfish jumping.
Oh, great.
And they would go on their radar or whatever they did and find out where they were.
Uh-huh.
And we went there. David was 12, I'm almost sure. And he was in, they strap you in this seat. And he hooked on. And so the captain wanted Joe to take it. But David wouldn't give up, and Joe didn't let him give up. And he worked for hours to get that sailfish in.
Great.
And then Eric got a bite, and he pulled his sailfish in.
All right.
And so it was really, we came in with 2 flags on our ship because we had 2 sailfish.
That's amazing.
Wonderful.
So we had a good time.
Okay. Okay, Joe.
These elks are original. I made a form out of clay from the picture. The body is more or less the same on all elk, except the legs and the heads and things like that are in different positions. And that's about all I can say. It was a lot of fun making them. Each antler is 1 piece of wood, and the elk is 1 piece of wood. And I enjoyed. That's about it.
And you also made the 2 bowls there, huh, Joe?
Yeah, this is
unique,
a square bowl. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very pretty. And then Joe has this. Is that olive wood, Joe?
Pardon?
Is that olive wood?
No, that's not olive wood. I don't know what that is. I'll let you know when I find out.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful, Joe, and I'm sure our kids will get a kick out of seeing them.
I have to show you some more things.
Okay.
Joe made this bowl, you call that inlaid?
No, that's the first segmented bowl.
Segmented bowls. It's all
The
pieces.
first one I made. It's not very good, but I thought you might enjoy
It's
it.
perfectly smooth, and all the pieces fit in close together very nicely.
Uh-huh.
And Joe gave us that for a gift, and also this beautiful bowl. Super smooth. Joe gave us that for a gift too. And one more thing. Joe made this meat cleaver with the wooden handle, and he gave me that for chopping vegetables when
Oh, wow.
The steel comes from a sawmill up in Arizona. One of these big saws that cuts lumber. It was no good. It wasn't any good as a saw anymore, so they cut it up in pieces, and I bought some pieces of that.
Joe taped it for when we take it home in our suitcase so it doesn't start chopping inside our suitcase.
Okay.
And Jerry gave me some forget-me-not seeds, which I
Wow, all right.
plant at home too.
Okay.
Here you go.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Well, our friends are coming back to eat one more time here, and I'm still trying to improve my shots of them. They're so cute up close. Here they come. Joe's feeding them.
Well, I think that word probably came from Africa or something like that, but I'll find out. That wood that I made that bowl on the farm. Very wonderful person.
Hi Jerry, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Okay.
Hope everybody back in New York is doing fine.
Yeah. My kids are gonna ask if I was well behaved. Was I well behaved, okay, and everything?
Oh, he was a pretty good kid.
And I ate pretty good, didn't I, huh?
Yeah, my little brother was a pretty good kid. My little Jamie.
Yeah, little Jamie. I forgot about that. Yeah, you're the one that gave me that name.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Gonna come on visit us one of these days?
We hope to. We're
Okay.
looking forward to it.
Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Well, if you want us.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Sure.
But I know you'll put a limit on 3 days.
No. I wanted to show this here, little fireplace that Joe just bought just before he came here. He had some nice fires in there. That was pretty nice, Joe. Okay, I'm going to start off by saying we spent the evening here at the wonderful home here of Eric and Colleen and their children, and Andre and Justine. And we've been talking about a lot of memories, and tomorrow morning Nancy and I get on the road back home. We're heading back up to Flagstaff tomorrow night to meet with David, and on the train Saturday morning. And we've been sharing some pictures with them. So if anybody wants to say anything, they can say something.
Eric? I'll say hi. I'm Eric's wife, Colleen, and we have very much enjoyed having Nancy and Jim with us, and we look forward to getting to Orchard Park and visiting all of you soon.
Wouldn't that be great, huh?
It would be wonderful.
If we can get to Orchard Park, that would be great.
Thanks,
We're
Eric.
looking forward to it someday, hopefully. Maybe not quite so soon, but sooner than later. And hey, Doug, you don't look anything like I expected you to look.
That's funny. Good. That's good.
So, thank you again for coming.
Okay, and I wish Andre and Justine good luck on their game Saturday, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. And this is it from. Well, is this Phoenix or?
Phoenix.
This is Phoenix. Okay, and that's it from Phoenix, Arizona.
83rd Drive. Not very nice name.
What was that?
It was Coolwater or something.
You turn on
What are you talking about?
Coolbrook.
Coolbrook.
You gotta turn on
Coolbrook.
Coolbrook. We can call it Coolbrook.
Okay.
All right.
Phoenix, Arizona.
We're just
Okay.
north of the Coolbrook and just north of the meadow. You can't
Okay.
miss it.
Okay then.
All right.
Good night.
They have an arena there, sits about 15,000 people all nestled into the Red Rocks, and it's home to the Intertribal Indian Ceremonial. This event takes place the second week of August every year, a tribute to the Native American. The Ceremonial Association invites anywhere from 15 to 20 different Indian tribes here. They come share their dances, their foods, their arts and crafts, their culture, and pretty much a way of life with the American public for about 5 days every August. Again, it is a Ceremonial Association that works together with Amtrak to provide your tour guide services here. on the Southwest Chief. We're on the Navajo Reservation lands now, the eastern side of the reservation, called the Eastern Agency. The Navajo tribe is the largest tribe in America at this time. There are about 200,000 members located on about 17.5 million acres of land. The reservation extends into most of northwest New Mexico. It covers most of northern Arizona and parts of southeastern Utah. We'll be on this reservation for about the next 60 miles eastward. Now the reservation itself is divided into 5 big sections called agencies, and then they have little chapters. These are the small family communities throughout the reservation lands. They live very nomadic-like due to the grazing of their animals, and in this portion of the reservation they do have electricity, however they do not have running water. You'll be able to see small herds of sheep and cattle through this area. Again, this is the Navajo Reservation lands on the left, and to the south of us on the right, we're across from the Wingate Ordnance Depot. This is an Army ammunition storage base that's located on about 11,000 acres of land. There are a little over 900 storage huts out here that primarily house the ammunition from World War II. However, some new bunkers are being set up here, and you'll be able to see those in the distance. Now, if you're flying over, you can't see them because they're completely camouflaged.
In the summertime, when the sun is out and the skies are blue, this is a beautiful iridescent red. She said it just kind of even glows in the evening. But, I thought I'd take a shot of it anyway, even though it's pretty dreary today. There are still some native buffalo in this area, although we haven't seen any today. It's now about 5 to 11 on Saturday morning. Get back with some.
This is mesa, which is a Spanish word meaning table, because of the flag top, of course. And we're starting to go up an incline. We're going up to the Continental Divide, which is the highest point. We're leaving the Colorado Plateau behind, those beautiful red cliffs. And we're coming to some forest land. Vegetation here has been quite sparse. A few cedars here and there, and pinyon trees which have edible nuts. And we're passing into forest as we approach the Continental Divide.
Here's one of the typical trains we've been